是的，猎头细节。
언제 어디서나 깔끔하고 상쾌하게
이런 게 트래비 스타일.
Stylish sparkling water, 트레비.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6, third place match. Today's matchup, Cloud9, KongDoo, NC Foxes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third place match here at Apex Season 4. I'm Atlas, I'm joined by Wolf, and redemption is going to most certainly be the storyline for both of these teams. Of course, Runaway storming through the MC Foxes when we saw them in their finals bout. Of course, semi-final. I know people get confused about words like finals, but not meaning the grand final, just meaning the semi-final, which certainly was no context. And then Cloud9, KongDoo also getting wiped out by GC Busan, and then the following weekend getting wiped out by Lunatic High when they bring in their incredible new roster, including Munchkin and Fletter, and things look absolutely phenomenal for them in that final match of the Seoul Cup.
Yeah.
However, at least C9 KongDoo have experienced some sort of victory, right?
Sure. I mean, Cloud9 KongDoo made finals last season. They were so close to winning that title in Season 3. They had a dominant run, but they had easy groups, most would say. And tonight they're just looking to, as you say, get redemption. They failed to get that feeling of redemption after the Seoul Cup loss to Lunatic High.
Yeah.
And tonight, you know, I feel like they have a lot more to lose than the Foxes do in terms of pride, right? This is a team that will not be playing in next season. This is a team that we're going to Overwatch League. Has already been announced as the London team. It's by the partner with Cloud9, etc.
Yep.
So this team has a lot riding on, I think, that sort of pride of, I'm going to be the representatives for London, but we're an all-Korean roster. They want to kick off the season finishing with a bang, you know, and they didn't get that finals finish, but third place match here is definitely going to be the next best thing. And for the Foxes, I think this is about revenge. They were defeated by Cloud9 KongDoo last time they faced off each other. In fact, they were 3-0 swept.
Yeah,
So,
both times, in fact. These guys have met twice this season. It hasn't looked great for the NC Foxes.
certainly has not. This is going to be a best of 7, just like our semifinals. So Assault, Escort, Repeat, Hybrid pushed to set 7.
Yep.
And that should be an interesting series, to say the least. Most would expect Cloud9 KongDoo to take the win again. Even though they had a few issues in terms of communication at the Seoul Cup, they mechanically were able to destroy Lucky Future, and I think that's what they're looking to repeat against the Foxes tonight.
Yeah, and I feel like it's most likely just going to go down that route as well. I mean, they know exactly how to dismantle the NC Foxes. They've done it before multiple times, like we just mentioned. So it should be an opportunity for them to get themselves back in the right direction as far as momentum is concerned. But I do want to talk about mentality heading into this particular match, because the amount of time NC Foxes have had since their loss to Runaway is much larger than what Cloud9 KongDoo have had since that obliteration that Lunatic High was able to show them last time we saw this team. So coming off it, like, what, 2 days ago or something like that? I mean, shaking that off that quickly is actually quite difficult. And that was on a massive stage. I mean, Seoul Cup was actually far more hype than I personally was expecting. Like, that was some of the best Overwatch that we've seen so far this year.
Miraculous Youngster really showed up to play, and we got to see the new roster of Lunatic High. And, you know, I think a big takeaway for most of Lunatic High fans was, I wish these players were signed to the team earlier, because it was really night and day what we saw in terms of difference in DPS support there. Yeah, for those players, you know, Flood and Munchkin. We don't want to get too much into that. We talked about it to death in that series. Go back and watch the VODs of the Seoul Cup if you haven't seen it. Here we go. A bunch of KongDoo fans have shown up tonight here. A great Diva drawing there. A Void fan, no doubt. Still no sign for us, but a YBT fan here with the Korean commentators printed as well.
Yep. Glad the Custogen's up there as well, because we haven't seen him for a little while. He's been off doing other things, but he's going to be back on the Korean broadcast this evening. Some Western fans in the audience as well, and we're a little bit light on when it comes to the fans tonight, Wolf, but we did hear some enthusiastic cheers coming out of the KongDoo fans. And NC Fox is not necessarily as popular at the moment, but if you're watching, the Seoul Cup on the weekend, KongDoo fans were almost non-existent. It was all about saying goodbye to Lunatic High, of course, not going to be known as that roster anymore, going to be the Seoul representatives. So really cool to see them get sent off correctly. And today is a little bit similar to that, because we're not going to have the Cloud9 KongDoo of Apex that we've grown to know and love over this time, and it is going to be the team for Overwatch League for London, so a different thing. But we are now going to introduce the teams, get some smack talk on.
와, 클라우드9 콩두가 이게 단 한 세트도 따내지 못하고 이대로 멈출 거라고 예상한 사람이 진짜 몇 명이나 되겠습니까?
네, 강자는 새로운 강자에게 꺾여요.
이번 시즌 하면서 패배를 한 번도 안 해봤었잖아요. 꿀조 밟고 올라와가지고 이제 4강에서 4대빵 나는 거 아니냐 그런 글들 많았는데, 근데 현실로 받아들여지니까 조금 많이 슬프네요.
전술 뜯기는 타이밍!
하나 더! 하지만 서민수!
말로 표현할 수 없죠. 올라가다 보니 욕심이 생겨서 결승까지 바라봤는데 미끄러지니까 좀 많이 아쉽네요. 클라우드9은 개개인 피지컬을 믿고 거기에 정체돼 있어요. 저희가 두 번째까지 완패를 당한 이유가 상대 팀에 대한 정보가 없었는데 지금 바라본다면 우리 바로 밑팀? 이제 4위로 가셔야 될 것 같아요.
NC요? 파이트머니 자판기? 저희를 좀 이겨야지 강점을 찾을 텐데 너무 압도적으로 3대 0으로 이겨가지고 뭐를 준비해야 될지 모르겠어요. 일단 이 팀 강점은 실력에 비해서 좀 이게 도발을 잘한다? 뭐 다른 건 없는 것 같아요.
못하는 것보단 낫죠. 제가 처음에 와카와카 선수가 엄청 잘하는 줄 알았어요. 최상위 팀에 있는 힐러다 보니까. 근데 경기를 보면 볼수록 죽어나가기만 하니까. 이래서 딜러하는 놈들은 안 돼.
이상하게 인연이 깊은 것 같은데 끝까지 재미없는 경기로 마무리 짓게 되네요. 돈이라도 챙기겠습니다. 여러 의미로 마지막 경기인데 동메달이라도 가져가겠습니다. 4위는 정치도 못하잖아요.
결승보다 기대치가 떨어지지만 리벤지 매치니까 이거는 꼭 이겨야겠다. 승격팀한테 2연타 맞고 이제 시즌 종료하세요.
다시 한번 여쭙겠습니다. 클라우드9 콩도 이길 수 있겠어?
Cloud9, KongDoo.
죽여라라는 얘기지. 그냥 다 죽여라. 너는 버든이다. 와! 다시 한번 또 버든 선수가 축구방을 끊어주면서 많이 나고 있어서 가보자.
Bird Ring. Curious.
이전 경기랑 다를 수 있습니다. 시험 선수가 확실히 원시의 분노를 기가 막히게 잘 써주고 있기 때문에
Fisher.
포커싱이 제대로 안 됐어요. 마무리가 안 됐습니다. 그렇죠.
Rascal.
살았어요? 시험을 같이 들어가주는 건데 시험 보게 되죠.
Boy. B. Doshin. Waka Waka. Cloud9, KongDoo.
Okay, so Waka Waka didn't necessarily get his highlight clip. However, calling NC Foxes a fight money vending machine certainly was hilarious, so I'll give him that one.
Certainly was. This team, of course, had a great run, and even as the Korean commentators were saying in the kind of highlight clip we had there, is a lot of teams did expect this team to drop out 0-4 because they had that easy group. They did. They lost to Lunatic High. They're on the back foot here. So before we talk about anything else, I do want to mention that Quartermain is not listed as available for play tonight because he was not on the official Apex roster that was submitted going into semis. He's not available for play. So Waka Waka will be playing Lucio, and Curious will, of course, be on the bench for now. They may tech him in later on in the series, but one thing we have to mention, I think, it's a thing that not a lot of people are talking about right now in the West, is that this team is actually currently kind of embroiled in controversy here in Korea. So mentality-wise, players Badoshin, Rascal, and to a lesser extent Void as well. They've got a lot of haters, shall we say, and if you want to look into that, you can look it up on yourself on your own time, but there's a lot of controversy around this team at this moment. So after those tough losses, after being picked up by Cloud9, all this mounted pressure and all the pressure from the Korean fans, the Korean community, makes this, again, I feel like for Cloud9, such a more important match than it is for their opponents.
Yeah, they really need to try and prove themselves here, and of course it doesn't really change any of the other things, but let's have a look over the other side. Let's check out the NC Fox.
올라와야 되고요. 왔어요. 야, 요거는
Neko.
힘이 들고 나온 플래시 박스.
자폭 던졌기 때문에 이거 못 올라와요. 못 나옵니다. 자폭 타이밍 너무 좋았어요.
하나 제거.
얘는 나왔고요. 이 타이밍을 맞춰야 되는데 자폭 던져놓고
Rhea.
집에 이러면
아프지요.
쳤죠. 그래도
자, 소리방법까지 넣는데요. 자, 초월로.
네, 초월 자폭.
버팁니다.
Hyuk.
자, 용감 사신. 와! 깔끔하게 하나씩 떨어집니다. 용감 하나.
근데 사실 이거 상대의 겐지를
자, 사실.
마음껏 칼질할 수 있죠. 여기서는 내려오는 거.
사신.
이 두피스 어떻게 대응해야 될지 그 카드를 계속 꺼내고 있어요.
그렇죠. 이런 식으로 걸어야죠. NC가.
먼저 끊으면 키노. 자, 서민 지원자와 다하고 이 키노. 아, 이렇게
이키노가 이거 이렇게 또
잠깐만.
이렇게 망할 때가 많다는 거죠.
이키노.
폭신이
꺼낸 이유가 있어요.
메카파게 뒤쪽에 한번 던져놓고
그렇죠.
서민수.
있는 상황이라서 반반 상황만 만들어준다라고 하면 시간 잘 끌 수 있는 거고요. 여기서
펌보. NC Foxes.
All right, well, Sominsu gets the award for weirdest highlight clip so far in the highlight clips. Not entirely sure what that pulse bomb was, but we're just demonstrating that you can miss them and still get into a highlight.
That's right. Well, he missed the pulse bomb, but he picked up 3 kills afterwards, so I suppose that's good enough.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Well, this team, remember, most famed for defeating Luxury Watch Red. A lot of Luxury Watch fans in Korea and abroad really wanted to see Luxury Watch Red have their Royal Road opportunity here because it was a team that was gate-kept through promotions and challengers out of Apex for a long time. But they were able to defeat them twice, but that's as far as they could go. They hit the roadblock in Runaway. Tonight, they will yet again put Rhea as a substitute. So that means that very likely, based on what we saw in the round of 4, Sashin will be playing Diva tonight. Pumple, of course, on the Winston. So Seominsu and Kino will be sharing DPS roles here, even though they play very similar roles. Means that Sashin won't be able to play the Genji. See how it works out for them. Did not work well against Runaway.
No, certainly didn't. And we're going to be going to Ilios first off. And the interesting thing is that Sashin was the Genji player, the Pharah player. He was like pretty much any projectile-based hero, he's going to be the one to pick that up and throw that into the DPS role. However, Somitsu and Akino have literally the same champion pool, like a hero pool. Like you said that yourself. Like they play a very similar style, but it's all hit scan. It's hit scan plus Doomfist, pretty much. It's like Tracer, Doomfist, Soldier is exactly what both of their top played are, and I want to see some variation. I want to see one of them pick up something like the Pharah, because Pharmacy works so well for NC Foxes because Neko is so damn good on Mercy.
And this is such an important map to be able to run that comp, and you better bet Rascal is going to be on that Pharah.
Well, we'll see whether Rascal is going to be able to make it happen or whether there's a cheat Pharah player on the side of the NC Foxes. Let's do it. Let's head over to Greece and get into Ilios.
Get it.
Okay, well, you can hear Cloud9 KongDoo finally getting the crowd on their side here for this third place match.
That's right. Well, you know, with the lack of Pharah playtime for these players on the Foxes, assuming Sasha will be playing Diva, you know, it's kind of an interesting situation here. I feel like they're going to try to use long-range hit scan to deal with Rascal's Pharah, as this is definitely not real.
I can't believe Birdering's just going so standard, just picking out the Symmetra.
Yeah.
It's just boring, man. I just hate seeing Symmetra every single game.
Me too.
Ugh.
So, there's going to be Summon-Su on the Soldier. He himself and Kino both have less than 5 minutes of Pharah gameplay time this season, so they just are not as effective on the Pharah. They don't want to go toe-to-toe versus Rascal Pharah versus Pharah, so they're just going to try to counter it here with long-range hit scan. I think it's a pretty reasonable approach, but with Kino already dead, this is worrisome.
Yeah, it certainly is a problem, and Somitsu actually forfeiting the high ground very, very quickly, dropping down as you saw before the fight even broke out. Not sure whether that's a great idea, but Birdring is going to get smacked down by Hyuk, so this could be a decent start to at least even things out as NC Foxes do grab the first cap.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to grab it right here with those picks. They were targeting Seominsu, who was able to keep himself alive with his biotic field there. It was Birdring and Rascal that targeted him. If he gets eliminated, then the Pharah has free reign in the skies, but they failed to do so. And Birdring got shot in the back of the head there by Hyuk, so that was kind of the capture-winning move, if you will, for the Lucio player on the side of the Foxes. So great opportunity for them to get this lead now. Rez is available. Let's see if Cloud9 wants to try to parlay this into a big, heavy dive to get an early flip.
And you can see actually a bit of a switch over here by Neko. Going to be heading on to the Zenyatta instead, I believe that's a swap because I'm not sure how he was on 0% that whole time. That's going to be Aquino picking up the double. Nice pulse bomb comes out, and NC Fox's decent play. Rascal immediately out of the air, but Badoshin comes in with that res you were talking about, the one they prepared earlier in the cooking show that we like to call Overwatch.
That's right. Suminsu will get taken out here, so fantastic play by Badoshin, setting up this kind of dive in to trade members to get the res to win the 6v3, the 6v4, I believe it was in this case when they got that 3-man res. Neko using the Transcendence earlier meant it wasn't available to try to live through that damage, and they killed Suminsu. Before he could use that Tac Visor. They do have good tools here, and they have a support ultimate lead, but Suminsu is going to have to get into good position to make this happen, and if he gets eliminated here because he is the #1 target, it's going to be a problem. Remember, Sashin, he's the defender here, but he doesn't have that much experience on D.Va just yet.
Wow, really early sound barrier actually coming out from the NC Foxes, pairing up with the Tac Visor, but in this corridor, it's not exactly great. Can't find the targets that he's looking for, and most importantly, Rascal's untouched by that soldier that possibly could have just got rid of both the Pharah and the Mercy from the sky. So a little bit unfortunate, but they are still going to be able to get the back cap. Sneaking through there as Cloud9 KongDoo were out of position to defend.
And now they actually have an opportunity to try to kind of hide in this building, the actual capture itself, to avoid the pharmacy damage.
Yeah, Rascal doing the let's throw a barrage into a defense matrix play. Hasn't worked out so far, but try again seems to be the tactic.
That was really good positioning by the Foxes, countering the dive when Cloud9 KongDoo went really deep there. Not only did they get the back cap, but then they made that their defensive, holding point there inside the lighthouse, and that's why the barrage just really didn't do much, because you have that one angle, like you said, so obviously it just becomes a barrage into a D-Matrix. And so, as a result, Foxes win the fight. They had another Transcendence available. Res was used as well, so Cloud9 KongDoo kind of an expensive attempt here. And now the Foxes might be poised here to take this Lighthouse map, as Kino is looking for a potential backline pick here.
Yeah, wants to try and throw that pulse bomb in. I would have thought that the Monkey's backside was at least out there. Decides to go for the D.Va mech instead. Does do a fair bit of damage there. But we'll see whether it is actually going to be enough to win them this fight. Good sound barrier comes in, and Void's going to lose the mech. So no defense matrix this time, as Sominsu does have that Tac Visor. Gets at least one. Finishes off that mech for himself. But we are in overtime now. We're very close to the swap over here for Cloud9 KongDoo. Can they actually get onto this point? Doesn't look like it. So we are going to have that overtime ticking down pretty quickly as the members of Cloud9 are getting taken out.
That's it. That's going to be this first map going to the Foxes. Transcendence will help secure this. Pulse Bomb not going to do anything against the Transcendence. They're just trying to make this happen, but it's just simply not going to work.
This is called the run in and die strategy. It hasn't worked so far. Some strategies that certainly haven't been working were employed in that particular map and didn't work. Cloud9 KongDoo.
Void was nearly dead, and so the sound barrier came and it was really well timed by Waka Waka to save him. But it was used early, and Suminsu held on to the Tac Visor until it faded. They were able to focus down the D.Va, so there was really no good defense for the Tac Visor there. That's why the Pulse Bomb came in on the Void. Remember, after the sound barrier wore off, he was still low on hit points. They focused him down, and then, just to make sure he couldn't be killed by stray rockets, the sound barrier came in from Hyuk. So two really good sound barriers on both sides here. The problem was that Hyux was able to get more value because Waka Waka's was an emergency sound barrier, whereas Hyux was a more patient one where they already had the advantage. So great start here for the Foxes in terms of ult usage, and Rasso just hasn't been able to do as much as he would have liked to with this pharmacy comp.
Yeah, and I just feel like he hasn't been augmented very well by the rest of his team here. Rascal has been able to get some of the rockets down. His barrages were, quite honestly, pretty terrible, but NC Fox are just playing a more coordinated game of Overwatch right now.
Always the target, if he can, will be the soldier. Uh-oh, Dojin taken out of the sky here already. That means very low res percentage.
Oh, that's a sexy, sexy boop off with the concussive grenade. So Rascal just saying that, yes, I can be the counter of soldier as well as you can be the counter of my Pharah.
So I guess trades there. Again, the res being missing is a problem, but Rascal's very close to that barrage. Great angle here onto Hyuk too.
Yeah,
Should be
in trouble and actually can't keep his team healed up as well if he does get out of position like that. We've got the dive in now, but the Pharah is a very long way away. Sashin way off into this building and unable to really help with the health bar that incredibly low. Kino throws out a pulse bomb, doesn't actually find any of the targets. Now Birdring sitting on his, seeing what he can get done. Rascal, that's what you use the barrage for, my friend!
So this all happened because Sashin had to protect Hyuk, excuse me, used his D-Matrix very early, then got low, as you were saying, was picked off by Birdring, which allowed that barrage to happen in the first place. Wouldn't have been possible if they hadn't focused him down, and that all happened when Hyuk got out of position. The barrage saved him. We're going to watch this again. Watch after the D-Mech. Immediately sees the D-Mech, boom. Good angle here. Everyone gets stuck in that area. It's a triple kill. Rascal is just able to find these openings and react so quickly to these defense matrices dropping.
Yeah, and it's like the full self-sacrifice as well. Knew that he was not in exactly a position to keep his life, but manages to kill 4 before going down, and that is going to secure it. Now NC Foxes and Cloud9 KongDoo both throwing out the sound barriers, trying to keep themselves alive, and Fisher going to be the first one to go down. No more barriers to play behind here for Cloud9 KongDoo. Could be an opportunity now for NC Foxes to get themselves onto this point, get things going. But Ocean, not sure what that was. That flight path was straight through enemy lines.
I think he was trying to get a res, but I don't know if it would have been worth it either way. He does go down here. This is a great position here now for the Foxes. Void trying to get that knock into the well. Will fail to get it. It's going to knock Void out of the mech. And again, this is a big problem. During all of this, though, Cloud9 KongDoo is still building percentage. They didn't use any ultimates in order to make this percentage build. And because that res didn't go off, I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise for Cloud9 KongDoo, who, even though lost the point, have an ult advantage.
Yeah. So now Fisher can jump his way back in. There's been a lot of questions about how Fisher's been playing over the last couple of series, to be honest. Has been the one to go down first. Coordination here with their main tanks not necessarily working for Cloud9 KongDoo. Fisher has had great moments, but more often than not, he's just dying a little bit too early in these fights. And Rascal, speaking of which, is going to go down to start this one off. Pulse Bomb comes in from Birdring, but not actually able to find anything. There was a defense matrix a little bit too close for him to get that stick under the behind of the Lucio.
But those are not willing to use the res just for a Tracer who can return to the battle very quickly here. Just going to hold on to this res again. Waka Waka's going to come back with Sound Barrier. These are the tools they want to use to get this flip. The target again for Birdring was the D.Va mech. Found Sashin with his back exposed. If they can D-mech the D.Va, that's when the barrage is going to work. But otherwise, it's going to be just, as you said, one of those barrages into the Matrix. And we've seen so many Varas just kill themselves with that. You have to do it when the D-Matrix is down or when the D.Va is D-magged.
Now Rascal, decent angle here to try and get some damage in, but the barrier comes down just to keep him alive and has to respect the tack visor here from Sominsu. Almost goes down, actually does here as Rascal finishes it. NC Fox is a little bit late on the sound barrier. Hyuk, that was unfortunate. You want to try and keep that soldier up because now Rascal, this barrage is very free. There's a Primal Rage coming down as he gets killed before falling into the well. That's satisfying if you're an NC Foxes fan. And Pumple somehow able to get rid of a Pharah by himself as an angry melee monkey.
And Sashin again protects his team against the against the barrage. Rascal's going to switch on to Soldier now, not willing to try to make this happen anymore. Sashin has been doing great at mitigating that damage all game long.
Also needs to be able to run back as quickly as possible. We're at 99% already here for Cloud9 KongDoo. They have to try and get a switch over. Void has his ever-present self-destruct that he's used so well in the past. We'll see whether he can actually get people off the point, get a flip, and they do so manage to.
Yeah, now they have this flip, 55%. It's really funny because Badosian's on a hero that doesn't really suit this composition anymore. He's just going to be looking for some damage boost here for Rascal to try to get that tack visor. The res is the reason why he hasn't switched.
If you have a free res, you ain't going to get rid of it.
You're definitely not going to toss that away. He just wants to hide here. We've all seen this in solo queue, right? Hide in the corner, look for the fancy res.
Ain't nothing wrong with a boosted soldier there as well. I mean, you give him more damage, he's still going to get more work done. We know that Rascal can certainly take care of that.
This is the D.Va battle. It's so important. The mechs here are going to determine which soldier gets more damage done.
Well, Floyd's certainly losing out on that one as we've got both of the sound barriers coming in, but the mech is already dead. A little bit of a disaster here. Actually, it was the self-destruct, so going to throw that one in there, get straight back home, so that's decent. Birdring going to be brought up with the res. I mean, they saved it for a very long time. Not exactly the best move, as Tack Visor has been invested here by Sominsu, but another Angry Monkey, and Fisher's going to be able to deal with him. Really good placement and positioning here from Cloud9 KongDoo, and they're going to be the ones to clean up. 99 to 99. We got the tick down. Oh, so close. But NC Foxes are at least going to be able to try some sort of trickle-in strategy to get the work done. I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough. as the Cloud9 KongDoo team just a little bit too much in number to sit on this well and take this one home.
Hey, they're about to have that transcendence. That's what they need so badly now. Neko does pop it out here. This is going to be their opportunity to switch this. I don't think they can make it happen, though. Void still has the mech, so what realistically can Summon Su really get done here to try to turn this in terms of DPS?
Oh, Kino, he's going to be taken down. Rascal, really good tracking's going to find him as the monkey falls in the hole for a moment. Oh, never mind, I'm just kidding, as he jumps straight back out and dies. Pumple, unfortunately unable to protect the rest of his team. Waka Waka does get the boop into the well, onto the Diva. That should spell all she wrote, as we've got an evened out series here on Control.
I feel like this entire map of Well was about the Diva matchup. You know, when the mechs were up, the damage was so insignificant on both sides.
Yeah.
And then that last fight, the fact that Void had that self-destruct available, as you were saying, is the reason why they were able to start to win the fight and then win the longer fight, because they got those picks there. And what you saw when he used the self-destruct, Summon Su tried so hard to get that greedy pilot kill mid-air. He failed to get it. The remake came through. Then he had more health than Sashin did. And even though they both respawned and we had a longer fight there, that was kind of the turning point in that fight, you could really say. Forced NC Fox to kind of have some haphazard ultimates like Neko's Transcendence, which didn't empower anything. It was just a, I hope this works. So now we're going to see Birdring versus Summon Su on the Widows. This has been one of Birdring's best maps historically for Widowmaker. Definitely the player who's more renowned for it. We'll see if that comes true here again, as we're seeing Foxes run their patented Widow Sombra. Ooh, missed that shot.
Oh, yeah, not going to be able to find the first one, and that's super important because he hadn't really given away his position just yet. Now everyone knows exactly what's going on. Oh, that's a shot. Just going to finish that one off as Pumple in trouble. But Neko actually just looking to try and get rid of Birdwing. The Translocator will be able to get him up here if he wants to, so does have to be very careful. And Cloud9 KongDoo with that one pick, as well as Rascal taking down Aquino, will be able to get the first cap.
Looks like Rascal is going to try to crouch walk over here, minimize the sound of his footsteps to get the pick on the Summon Su. Waiting for the rest of his team to coordinate where the tanks are so we can get in there for free. And I don't think Summon Su realizes this just yet. He's about to find out. Yep. Does react very quickly, though. It looks like he's still going to go down, though. Great play here by Rascal. But while he's gone, that DPS is missing.
Gets himself onto this point very, very quickly, but we're very close to a switch over as Aquino's going to be able to get rid of Birdring as well, doing the same thing, and able to take down Birdoshan at the same time. NC Foxes should be able to get the switch up here. Is going to be that, but we did make it to about 35%, so not too bad there for Cloud9.
When you go for a move like what Rascal did, it can turn the tides if you get the pick and everyone on your team plays defensively in that moment, because obviously you kill the Widow, you can turn the tide of zoning there because you'll have your own Widow, but when it takes you that long to do it, it means that you're missing damage in the longer fight, that the Foxes win out because your Tracer just simply isn't there. And I think that's kind of what we saw there, is NC Foxes win out the fight while he's just simply missing.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, the amount of time that you take in order to take down that backline threat, that's the most important part. This wasn't quite enough here as Neko's in trouble. Rascal's going to find him. Holds onto that rewind as well, so he's still going to be dangerous to watch out. Neko can't really be getting too much done here. Goes invisible, but not going to be able to get the boot as enough.
Gets his health, though. Rascal used his recall. It's a scary moment. There you go.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb's going to do it, and Fisher actually with the Primal Rage is going to get rid of the Widowmaker as well, so this could be the turn of the tides. Rascal's going to get backhanded. Pumple's going to finish that one off, but it means there's no Winston, the front line of this fight. Fisher does have to get the hell out of there, though, and see Foxes remain in control.
Yeah, they used a lot of ults for this, but they have that also important EMP available. If they can actually knock Void out of the mech with it, that could be so huge. Sound Barrier is going to protect before they use it. In fact, Neko is down now.
Yeah, and actually, Birdring's going to be able to take down Hyuk, and they've got so many of these kills.
God, that shot was just... That was one of those moments where, like, you know you've got a Golden Widow gun when you're doing things like that. I love moves like this. It's what sets the Grandmasters away from the pros. There's moments like that.
Well, this could be dangerous. Summon Su had some decent sightlines onto Birdring there, but Birdring able to get himself out of the way. But if they can keep him out... Oh, okay, Rascal doesn't find the melee, but will be able to get rid of Summon Su this time and makes it in much quicker time than the last time around when he was diving into this backline. Aquino down here as well as Rascal unharassed. And this is the important thing, giving Birdring so much space, able to sit himself back, knows he's under no pressure. He's just bouncing up and down, taking out the carries of NC Foxes.
What's so cool about this tactic, too, is he's one of the targets for Widow. And so not only does he give himself safety by sneaking around like that, where he's not threatened, but he gains value from the pick. It takes him a long time to do so, but if his team is playing defensively, and as they have control right now, they very easily can. It's worked so well. Look at this.
Yep, Hyuk going to go down. It's going to be the Pulse Bomb coming in there, so there's some sneaky play coming in. Sominsu going to go back to the Genji. Okay, not necessarily having a heck of a lot of support in this particular composition now with the Sombra augmenting it, but we've got an EMP flying out, and Neko's going to do what he can to try and get control back on this point. We are into that overtime, and Aquino is able to at least get rid of Void.
Flip comes through.
Yeah, this is so dangerous, though. Good dash timing, and Birdring is going to fall down. Sound barrier to augment, 92% on that Dragon Blade, but is going to fall down before he's able to use it, and they get the flip, but will it just be immediately flipped back is the question. Cloud9 KongDoo getting back in here a little bit quicker.
Not going to have the EMP to pair with that Dragon Blade or support ultimates, but KongDoo do have to use this very early sound barrier. No Transcendence available. This still is anyone's game to take. Dragon Blade's up now. This is their moment for the Foxes. They have to do this right here, right now.
Yep, self-destruct flies forward, doesn't find any of the kills, and Waka Waka, he's the one that's able to get some work done. Okay, Dragon Blade coming in, but Somitsu going to fall after getting one pick. That is certainly not enough, as we should be able to get ourselves to this 99-99 flip, and that is going to be now Cloud9 KongDoo with all of the control. Overtime ticking down, too many dead on side of the NC Foxes. And it was a lot more difficult than I was personally expecting, but Cloud9 KongDoo able to grab control and start off strong.
This is so cool. This is Rascal's MVP of Ruins there. You know, the first time he did it, because they didn't have control, they couldn't control the point while he was gone, right? They lost the longer fight. But when they had control, how aggressive he was against Sominsu again, it's twofold the advantage. You hide yourself. You're one of the big targets for the Widow. You're safe. You get those picks, then, or you just ignore the Widow right under her nose, get the pick onto Lucio with the Pulse Bomb like we saw there onto Hyuk. So really cool play. And remember, the coolest thing about this actually is Birdring's a 76% Tracer player in Apex. He is the Tracer, one of the highest KDs in Apex, the most famous Tracer player until Prophet came onto the scene realistically here this season. And he's the one who's playing the Widow. And it's Rascal who comes in, who's able to still make this happen, not on the main Tracer for his team. And that's something that you know Cloud9 KongDoo has very much well practiced.
Yeah, well, we are going to have a slight pause here as we're going to fix some PCs. Apparently you need a working computer in order to complete an Overwatch tournament, which would make a heck of a lot of sense. But one thing I really do love, just following on from your point there, is the fact that Rascal's also the Pharah player, and that really cool composition that we saw coming out from Lunatic High in order to dismantle a lot of these more slow-moving compositions. If C9 KongDoo want to try and get something like that happening, they're not going to be able to, because it's if NC Foxes want to get something like that happening, it's so much more difficult because you can just throw Birdring onto the Widowmaker and have Rascal on the Pharah.
Yeah.
And it's just so easy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're so right about this. Cloud9 KongDoo has a team of DPSs that make that sort of play very possible, very strong, whereas NC Foxes did when they had Sashin in the booth, but when Rhea was also in the booth with them, because when Sashin's playing the Diva, he can't play the Pharah. So
yeah.
So we know that Sominsu and Kino, neither of them have any playtime on Diva in terms of competitive here in Apex. So, you know, that kind of composition, I think, is a hole that the NC Foxes can't fill without subbing Rhea in. They did sub Rhea in their final map going against Runaway, but it just simply wasn't enough to turn the tides. And I think that when you have this DPS duo of Sominsu and Kino, neither of them really are fantastic at the Tracer, or if they are running the Tracer, then there needs to be some sort of dive hero with them. We saw the attempted Genji there from Sominsu, simply did not impress. You need to have Rhea to free up Sashin if you want to run Tracer Genji, and because they don't have that, that comp is just simply not available. The same way that the Pharmacy comp is not available for them with Sashin on Diva, the same way that the Pharah Widow comp that we saw at the Seoul Cup is not available. That's why, despite Rio's shortcomings recently and why he's on the bench, you know, that's what NC Fox has said is their reason, is they just feel like he's underperforming recently. I feel like Sashin is kind of in an unfortunate position where he kind of has to cover for Rhea, but it limits the team in so many other facets.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is here as well is that Sashin's now forced onto diva duty when he's the DPS player on this team with the highest KD.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's stats are actually a lot better than that of Sominsu and Aquino. Like, and yes, we have to caveat that with the fact that he hasn't necessarily played as many games as either of these two and things like that, especially Aquino, who's pretty much been in every single game here for the NC Foxes. But still, it's like, I haven't been as impressed with these two as the current DPS duo as I have with some of Sashin's play that has been very impressive when he does pull out, you know, at least, you know, in his jaunt across control for a lot of these games.
We talk about this a lot in Apex, and I think it's something that we have to keep going back to. The teams that have really worked out what their players' position is in terms of DPS, flex, tank, what they're flexing to, the players that work out their hero pools early and hone that will always be better than the players that are constantly having to flex and are not playing heroes they're comfortable with, right? And that's when you put Sashin in an uncomfortable position where he has to play D.Va, who he's not as comfortable with as Rhea is, and then you've taken away the Genji player, because Sominsu certainly can play the Genji, but he's played way less, and in fact was subbed in for Sashin because they didn't want to run Genji comps. That's when they subbed Sominsu in throughout the group stage, round of 16, round of 8, right? So knowing your position and being able to play those heroes is a strength, but when Rhea is put on the bench, you take that strength away, and suddenly it's like a house of cards. You've taken out the base, you've taken out the foundation, and Cloud9 KongDoo is going to be stronger here as a result.
Well, they weren't necessarily as much stronger as we were expecting, so on Ilios, it wasn't the domination that I was expecting out of C9 KongDoo, but now as we move to Hybrid, we'll see whether, after assessing the power level of the NC Foxes, whether we're now going to have Cloud9 KongDoo come in with a real stomp, real domination match like we saw against Lucky Future on the weekend. We know that this team is certainly capable of it. You see Rascal, I mean, there's no big grin on his face this time around. This is a serious man ready to kick some ass.
That is indeed what he is looking to do tonight. He's run out of bubble gum. That's what I heard. Well, NC Foxes, in terms of map picks, since we have this longer issue here, we don't know. I guess it's probably an issue with the PC itself, not a hardware issue in terms of like peripherals. And it looks like it's been resolved here as Kino put his headset back on. Map choice here for Foxes will almost certainly be King's Row. Cloud9 KongDoo have every single time this season picked Hollywood when given this position. 4 times Hollywood, each and every single time they've chosen Hybrid. They did pick Numbani in the Seoul Cup, but against a different team. I think if you're NC Foxes, you definitely do not pick Hollywood. That is the worst thing you can do here. Probably go back to a comfort pick of the King's Row. But
I think, King's Row is just like such a difficult one to pick against C9 KongDoo, though. It's rough. We
talked about King's Row as more of a mechanics map. There's not really too many stylistic things in this meta, but we have seen teams that do like to run the Zarya. Reinhardt, for example, is very strong on that map. That's one meta thing that we can talk about. Teams like Miraculous Youngster, right? Teams like Meta Athena and the Seoul team, the Seoul national team for World Cup, using that style on the map. And I think if you're going to run into that style, then you should be worried against teams that are going to run that, because this comp, again, is a little bit debilitated by the fact that Rhea is on the bench. But because we're playing as Cloud9 KongDoo doesn't really run that style, I think it's still a safe bet. It's a tough choice no matter which way you look at it, as Numbani is also a great map for Cloud9 KongDoo, but I think King's Row is like the safe pick here. It's the one they've picked so many times. It's the one they're probably most practiced on. Yeah, and we'll see whether it is going to be a change up there, because I feel like NC Foxes, what they want to be doing now is throwing monkey wrenches into the works. Instead of going for, well, this is the, like, A plus B equals Hollywood, or A plus, like, equals King's Row type situation. Like, maybe it is going to be Numbani for the reason of, like, they just lost on this map. Maybe that'll trigger them. Maybe this is something that we could take advantage of. Because they would have been watching the Seoul Cup to understand exactly what Cloud9 KongDoo are going to be running. And of course, Quartermain as a switch out for Waka Waka, not going to change too much for how the team's going to work. So of course, that's going to give them valuable information. And look, they just lost on it. Let's pick it. Like, that would make some sense to me. That's a really good point. You always want to kind of get into the psychology aspect of it. You have this map to study, the most recent map of Hybrid that they've played to look at. Another possibility, too, is the Torbjorn comp. They could try to go to Numbani, run some Torbjorn, and throw that wrench almost quite literally into the gears.
I like it.
I just think you've got to avoid Hollywood. We're really talking about Kings Row and Nimbani here.
Yeah, I mean, like there is a world where something crazy on Eichenwald could be a thing, but I don't know whether it's necessarily what you want to do. Both of these teams aren't necessarily one of the teams that does like to bring that one out as one of those choices. We look at Lunatic High for that. We look at, old Runaway, if you have a look back at Season 2 when Eichenwald they owned, and it is going to be Numbani. They're going for the trigger strat.
That's right, and this is a map that is used by many teams. It's not uncommon to see. It's just less common for the Foxes, who have gone to Kings Row every time, with the exception of one Hollywood pick. And they did it against Cloud9 KongDoo, and they probably remember how badly that went. So, kind of a risky choice in some aspects, but I think safer than the Hollywood pick. Let's see what they want to run here. Could, again, be potentially the Torbjorn pick, or maybe they just feel confident that Summonsoo on the Soldier can control that high ground. They have a strategy prepared to deal with the Rascal Soldier coming up there onto the high ground.
Yeah, I actually quite like it here as well, but guys, let's do it. We've had a little bit of a long break, so let's get straight to Numbani into Hybrid for map number 2.
I get it.
Okay. So, Xenon KongDoo, we'll see whether they're going to have a better time here on Numbani against the NC Foxes than they did against Lunatic High on the weekend. And whether they are actually going to bring out something interesting like this Torbjorn. I don't think the Symmetra is going to be a working strat.
Cloud9 KongDoo have not run a single map of Torbjorn this season.
I know, it's a bit sad.
It is a bit sad. Waka Waka is hovering it at the moment, but something tells me that we're not going to see Genji Symmetra. Torbjorn, excuse me, with no Ana. Hey, I mean, shield
He's struggling
generator.
to even say it. He's like, he's so sure this isn't going to happen. But
I saw one of my solo queues this morning. Oh yeah, I just gotta tell the Koreans I meet on solo queue that just because they completed their first push doesn't mean that the game is over. We can also complete that first push. We don't all need to go to troll heroes, okay? The game is still winnable. In fact, if you watch Apex, you see that we have tiebreakers on hybrid maps all the time. It's certainly, not time to switch the Torbjorn, the attack Symmetra, the attack Bastion. We don't need that, okay?
ooh, this could be cool. NC Foxes aren't going to be running this composition. It's going to be Sasha on the Diva, but I wanted to see his Genji.
Well, we are going to see, it looks like boosted McCree attack here, something that's been shown by a lot of the Chinese teams. This was a strategy that LGD really specifically liked to run on this map with Undead, of course, on the McCree. We've seen this with Miraculous Youngsters as well. Not going to be boosted, actually, just going to be switching back to the Zenyatta, which is pretty required to deal with the Winston compositions, less common in China, so that's why we sometimes do see those boosted McCrees.
Yeah, if there's going to be a team that does sack the Zenyatta for a Mercy, though, I think NC Foxes makes a lot of sense. Is Rascal, okay, that's one way to break this one up, but Birdring is just going to get popped very, very quickly. Summonsoo jumping off the edge. Thankfully, there is a ledge there to keep himself alive, but his control from the NC Foxes actually starting to work out. A little bit of an overdive, one could say, on Cloud9's part. Rascal has to be very, very careful. This is looking like a very, very quick first cap unless they can jump on here, and that doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Rascal decides that he wants to try as Birdring hops around as well.
He dodges the stun as well. That's so important. He just barely got out of that one. Had he been stunned, that might have been a done deal. So they are going to buy some time here. Team X Sashin.
This defensive timing was actually fantastic. So incredibly close to getting that cap to start off this attack run, and
Void calling him out there, knowing the Deadeye was coming. So unfortunate. Sashin was at like 90% when he lost his mech too.
Oh no, Rascal immediately countered. The NC Fox is throwing the sound barrier, and he's going to get himself the heck out of there.
Yeah, Sashin does have this self-destruct as well. I think that if they can deal with this Winston, he's Discord. If an Echo goes down, if they can deal with the Winston, this could have been a huge opportunity.
Well, Sound Barrier comes in for Cloud9 KongDoo to keep this defense going. Sominsu moves over to the Doomfist, but at the moment he's dancing around and actually having a bit of a struggle to keep himself alive. Discorded and should be removed here as Rascal waiting for that dash to come back up to try and finish it off.
He survived!
Yeah, he survived for a very long time, but Sashin is eventually going to be able to take him down, and finally the kills coming in here for the NC Foxes.
That was all Sashin. This whole attack has been all Sashin.
Oh my god, but C9 turning this one on its head. We are so extraordinarily close to getting this cap, and that's actually the Transcendence coming out. NC Foxes wanted to hold on to that one for some sort of attack run, but somehow Cloud9 KongDoo once again gonna stave them off.
Sashin gets picked before he can remake. He has his remake ult available as he dies, and as you say, that was a very mistimed Transcendence. They were desperate, but now they may never get a cap at all. They were greedy. They want to use the Transcendence to get the remake up there, to get the fast cap to have a better time bank, but now it might simply be a full hold.
Yeah.
Sominsu survived for so long and got so much damage done because Sashin protected him against Rascal's left clicks. But the longer fight went Cloud9's way, and that Transcendence being used, I think, is going to be really painful for the Foxes. They've got one more shot at this. They're going to have the Sound Barrier that can allow Sominsu to do the big damage here.
One shot, one opportunity as he jumps up and just straight up dies. Able to get rid of Waka Waka to start this one off, but it's trades of kills on every single side. 3 versus 3 now as the dust settles, and we got a Dragon Blade coming in from Rascal. When you split up like this, the defending team certainly working out a whole lot better than the attacking squad, as NC Foxes need to pull back once again. 40 seconds to go before that potential full hold from Cloud9 KongDoo is going to be realized.
Kino does get called back, doesn't get desynced with the spawns here, does build up enough to get a pulse bomb, drops it here, but Primal Rage is going to counter it from Fisher.
Yep. Counters it, but that's an ultimate now on cooldown. Neko's going to be able to get rid of Bedoshin as well, so good start for the NC Foxes. Rascal trying to adjust that one, but Sound Barrier does come in, and both supports are now dead on the side of Cloud9 KongDoo. We're ticking this one up. Can they get another miraculous hold? Not entirely sure, but Birdring is going to be able to get rid of Sominsu before falling to Aquino. And that looked so good for the NC Foxes at the very beginning. And now it's actually desperation as we hit the streets.
Yeah, 2 ticks early meant that, you know, they were able to finally finish it there when they got that one breathing room. Sashin played like a god, though, throughout that entire attack, keeping Sominsu alive, who's now switching back to the soldier and using his self-destruct to help secure those kills there at the end. Really
Sashin
great
wasn't
play.
there to keep him alive from the right click out of Bedoshin at that particular moment.
Nope. Unfortunate.
Bit of cast curse, potentially.
Yeah, but, I mean, he played really well.
Oh, yes, he certainly did. And it's important for him to be doing that as well, as NC Fox is going to continue using that momentum, just because we had so much of the questions for Sashin. Because he's coming in for Rhea, like this guy was DPS this whole time. Like, we talk about role switches being a pretty awful thing to do. But not this time around by the looks of things, as Sashin really got his eye in. Aquino throws out a pulse bomb, but doesn't find anyone.
Yeah, it looks to be absorbed. They're having a pretty reasonable street space here, though. Sominsu is going to be Novapon. He's discorded, but survives here with all the healing provided. Bit of an overdive potentially here for Cloud9 KongDoo. Rascal's down here, and Sominsu, he's never going to die here. Fisher even popping the Primal Rage. He's discorded. Gets the pick onto Hyuk at least.
Yeah, and Pumple's able to take down Bedoshin, so as far as support's concerned, they're evened out. And Sominsu now decides that he's got enough space to use this tack visor, but I'm not sure whether he necessarily does. Does get rid of Void in the end, and it's actually Aquino getting most of that work done, dashing around the backline, sorting things out. Helix Rocket finishes off Birdring.
That's completion here. They even used Fisher's Primal Rage to try to get the pick on the Sominsu, but he was protected by Neko, who was discording Fisher the entire time. Hyuk did healing while he could. He did eventually get taken out there, but Sominsu just had all the healing that they could possibly provide there just against the damage from Fisher. Once Rascal was dead, I think it was time to get out of there because they just didn't have enough damage to burst him down anymore. Those not in line of sight.
Well, Dragon Blade coming in. Rascal gets the Sound Barrier to try and get the work done, but Sound Barrier is in from the NC Foxes. That's going to make sure that he falls before getting any work done whatsoever. Aquino dealt with by the orbs out of Bedoshin, but still I feel like getting rid of that key ultimate on the side of Cloud9 is really going to help the NC Foxes continue their pressure forward. So we just seem to be trading kills backwards and forwards. Fisher finally getting himself into a position where he's the one actually providing a lot of these key kills in these fights.
Now, you know, NC Fox are just going to have to simply reset. That was such a clutch move by Bedosian, though. If Bedosian doesn't get that kill on Kino, Pulse Bomb kills 3 people, and they might even be at the point right now in overtime. You know, trying to they're not overtime, but, you know, just trying to step on it to stop the completion. Very clutch move. Bedosian's had very good not only right clicks, but also left clicks this game. Summonsoo's going to make the big switch here again to the Doomfist to try to shut down the mobile heroes, especially Birdring has been giving them a lot of grief here. Can also really help against Fisher's aggressive diving. They bait out that Primal.
He's been scouted out there now, so no surprise one punch man to come in, and Aquino's not going to be able to find the Pulse Bomb. Actually able to get that pick onto Birdring means that all of Cloud9 KongDoo are going to back away from this payload, just try and regroup. They know how much importance Birdring is for this composition, as there's the Transcendence coming in from Neko. They're investing a lot in here, but Birdring, brilliant stuff, but he kills himself with his Pulse Bomb. Bit of a disaster. There's now Rascal with Attack Visor, able to get a lot of damage in. Barrier placement is very, very good from Pumple. It does mean that they still need to get the hell out of dodge.
That was so well placed on the Summonsoo there. And also the patience that Fisher showed in that fight. Well, I spoke too soon because he did commit to the Primal here, but the patience he showed there, and also his leap away from the Pulse, he knew he wasn't stuck, so when the Pulse was on the ground, he leapt away, held onto that Primal Rage till the end. Really good conservative play from Cloud9 KongDoo. As soon as they knew Birdring was dead, as you said, they pulled back, took the safer position with their Soldier comp. Now the NC Fox have one more chance, but with Summonsoo dead, this is looking pretty unlikely for completion.
Yeah, it's a fantastic pickoff by Waka Waka. Sound barrier comes in, but it's after 2 are dead, and with only 2/3 of the composition of men available on the side of Cloud9 KongDoo, NC Fox is in a hell of a lot of trouble. Sashin, wow, did you see that mech die? What is that mech made out of? I thought it was metal. Doesn't look like it.
Looks like paper.
Like ice cream or something like that. And NC Foxes say goodnight. They are going to be able to get past point B, though, and after what was a disaster, almost getting full held on point A, that is certainly better than what we were potentially expecting from this particular attack run.
With a near full hold, it was looking grim, but what they were able to accomplish with about just a 2-minute time bank was really quite impressive. So Cloud9 KongDoo not singing the praises of the 2-0 just yet. They will have to gain completion just about in order to make that a reality. But interesting stuff for the Foxes, really showing flexibility of comp. Summonsoo so good on the Doomfist, which is slowly actually coming back now in Korea on this patch. Remember, guys, this is not the live patch if you're turning in late, and it will not be the live patch for the final, spoiler alert.
That would have been really confusing if people thought that we could reset the cooldown on Mercy's res over and over again, because that was a triple res on the first map.
Yeah. So I like that Summonsoo is going back to his roots a little bit here on the Doomfist. It's been working decently for him. When Sashin's playing this well on the Diva to keep him alive, it looks really nice. And you know, we talk about Sashin, we criticize him a lot. It's not really criticizing Sashin per se, it's just criticizing the choice to put Rhea on the bench because it's a double-edged sword. You have this Diva who is quite good for Sashin, but still missing the X factor of his Genji play, the Pharah play.
It's like you need Sashin. We're definitely not saying that Sashin's bad, but it's just like you want to utilize the power of this dude in a different way.
Yeah, indeed. So, hiding in the bush here? Get out of there.
Grandma. Grandma.
Oh, she's got the jack-o'-lantern. Giving the treats.
That's adorable.
Even little shrubs that are just doodads on the map need to get
doing some
candy.
gardening. Perfect. Some Numbani gardening.
She's been reading the wrong Gardening for Dummies book, I think. Give them candy. Don't try this at home. It's not going to make your plants grow.
Okay, Rascal actually thinking about committing to the Genji. Bedosian on the Sombra. He's done it a few times so far, but often it's Rascal is the one that picks up the Sombra. So going for the triple DPS.
Yeah. So they want to use, Hyuk wants to try to hack.
Whoa!
Oh, wow, well done.
Okay, well they're certainly going to find the kill there. Boyd's able to take down Neko in the end, but yeah, 2 for 2. Isn't too bad, but with Boyd so incredibly low, and Aquino able to rewind his way back out of this, it should be an okay situation.
So what the Foxes are doing here is exactly what you would expect them to do on this map, but I don't know if they're going to win this longer fight. They extended themselves pretty deep into here. Birdring's going to go ahead and snap onto this point.
Yeah, this is honestly disastrous for the NC Foxes. It looked great as far as the surprise attack, but then it all comes down to mechanics in the end, especially when you're against Cloud9 KongDoo, and they just played their heroes better.
EMP is going to come through here. This is the last chance to actually get this done. Kino's looking for the pick here. Not going to be successful onto Rascal, so they're not going to control the high ground. Line of sight broken.
Kino just gets onto the point in enough time, but
so this
by himself.
This whole comp for NC Fox is why they picked this map. They have Sombra to help deal with Rascal's dive on the Genji, which he switched onto the Soldier anyways. Then they have this comp, it's kind of all in. You need to crush the pushes with the high ground control. When they won the fight, they got greedy, they gave up high ground, they dove, got off that high ground, went into the choke point, and then Cloud9 KongDoo won through mechanics, as you say. In that position, the NC Foxes gave up their one advantage. It's the Soldier high ground that you're trying to use, the reason why you picked Numbani. So I think seeing blood in the water there, giving up that high ground is why Cloud9 walks away with a 5-minute plus time bank here. Much better than what the Foxes started with.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And they're just booking it straight through this Streets phase. Want to get onto that archway as quickly as they possibly can past point B. And you can see NC Fox is actually holding off, wanting to get a good position to hold. With all the high ground as they come around this corner, this makes a lot of sense. There's self-destruct. He's going to open this one up. It's actually Sashin grabbing Waka Waka, who somehow didn't make it to safety, but Rascal's going to be able to get Sashin as he's hopping back into the mech. So nicely done. And Sominsu now with the Tac Visor on the high ground is exactly what we were talking about. Now has this opportunity to throw in the Tac Visor and just waits for Void so he can get as much stagger as possible. Nicely done. Then NC Foxes regain control of the payload.
Kino's going to get that 1% ult from finishing him off before he jumps off the side.
Kino is the 1%, my friend.
He is the 1% indeed. Well, Cloud9 KongDoo have an ult advantage here, including the self-destruct they didn't use on that last fight to be able to get completion. They want to hold on to it in the last second. There's going to be an EMP to start the fight here. Great barrier coming down as well from Fisher.
Yeah, Cloud9 KongDoo actually starting this fight off exactly the way they want, but Ocean as well able to get himself out of there, and Rascal now looking for some of the sight lines. Low ground not exactly great, but he's still making it work here. As Pulse Bomb comes through, but actually just not going to find the stick. I thought that Rascal's behind may have been exposed, but it wasn't that time.
Pretty sure that was a predictive Helix rocket shot as well for the recall. Very impressive stuff here out of Rascal. So they get that completion using very few ultimates, mind you, still holding on to those important ones. Fisher is most important for contention of those actual captures themselves.
Yeah, sadly, but Ocean's going to switch off the Sombra, which I was actually quite impressed with for the first couple of points. And back to the Zenyatta. Birdring dancing around this fight. We've got double barriers coming in, but eventually they're going to fall down. Oh, Pulse Bomb comes in. That's just going to soften up the D.Va mech and allow Birdring to now continue forward. Rascal as well. So important to get rid of the defense matrix if you're a soldier. And he's able to poke his head around this corner, and they'll escort this payload as far as the heck they want.
Okay, they're going to try to focus on this D.Va mech again. If they can get back onto this point, they need to get on it. I don't know if they're even going to try. Okay, they try, but too late.
Okay.
C9.
What was the anti-C9 because they're against C9?
Yeah.
Like what? Is C9 contagious? What's happening?
Well, C9 takes this win. If they were able to buy time there, which was pretty unlikely, they were just going to try to focus on the D.Va mech again, use the Tac Visor. They knew it was going to be a stream-in, a trickle, as I like to call it, when you're just kind of sending one member at a time to contest in order to prevent the capture. But that was an outclassing, and I feel like this all went wrong for the Foxes when they just took everything they decided, everything they discussed about what map to pick and why to pick it. They balled it up, crumpled it, and threw it in the trash when they dove off the high ground there after they got that initial pick on defense, which meant Cloud9 won that fight and got a 5-minute time bank. And then the cart just didn't stop rolling, and we just saw...
Not to mention their attack getting foiled so incredibly often at the beginning after getting it so extremely close to a really early attack run. Like, that could have been completion, which would have meant that there's a likelihood that they get control back towards the end there because they don't need to park the cart, that early.
So, I mean, Cloud9 KongDoo just played a good series here of defense and attack on this map, and you pick a map for defense always, and when you end up having that weak of an attack, it does kind of get into your mind a little bit, and they just played a little bit sloppy on defense, and once they lost that was their whole reason for the map pick. They couldn't deal with the Streets phase. Cloud9 with some great, very efficient ultimate usage as well to finish out the point.
Yep, really nice stuff. So Cloud9 KongDoo going back to what we were expecting from this team against the NC Foxes. They've managed to sweep them twice in a row. It's looking like they could potentially do it again. We're going to go to a short break, guys. When we get back, the continuation of this third place match. Don't go anywhere.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4's third place match. Cloud9 KongDoo are leading over NC Foxes 2 matches to nothing. And
Indeed.
look, I feel like, Wolf, that we've been spoiled recently. I mean, Lunatic High versus C9 KongDoo was a beautiful series to watch. Absolutely amazing Overwatch was played. The semi-final of GC Busan taking down Lunatic High was some phenomenal Overwatch, and I haven't necessarily been as impressed here. I know it's dominant victories so far here for Cloud9 KongDoo, but we haven't seen the plays. We haven't seen the impressive maneuvers out of this team that we know they're capable of.
Let's see where they take us for this. The only map we haven't seen from them, we've seen one of each except Volskaya. I think Volskaya suits their current lineup the best, actually, without Rhea. See if that's where they want to take us. Nope, going to go to Horizon. That's going to be the second time we see them attempt this here. With potentially triple DPS, you know, the Sombra we can see here with the lineup they're running.
We've been seeing a whole lot more Lunar Colony as well here in Korea. I know that it was relatively popular overseas, but it didn't really take off here in Apex necessarily, apart from over the last few days where, especially in the Seoul Cup, it was quite popular. It was like all but one of the best of fives. We did see Lunar Colony be picked up.
Yeah, let's see if we see some Reaper here, or if it's just going to be Soldier dominated again here, which has kind of been the way for NC Fox, in terms of defense. We might see Rascal try to run the Genji here, a little bit less common, but he's really been doing well on it tonight. Not his greatest Genji performance of all time or anything like that, as Fisher just keeps trolling the camera every single time. Void's like, all right, man, let's chill out, let's get ready for this.
Yeah. Speaking of getting ready for it, let's do it. Okay, not wasting any time this time as we head to Lunar Colony.
I get it.
Oh, that was adorable. I watched the girl leading the call there, and she had a big giggle afterwards when there just weren't as many fans as she would have otherwise liked joining in. However, spirits still high.
People, you know, around the world are wondering how did this happen? How do we end up with 2 semifinals with 4-0s, dominant performances? Third place match looks to just be the third time Cloud9 KongDoo sweeps NC Foxes. I think people forget that it all comes back to one team that didn't play a single game of Overwatch this tournament. And that team is LW Blue. When they left the group, this season got a little bit. This season got a little bit off the rails, you know, and I think that's the reason why we have this kind of crazy semis. And if you're disappointed by the quality of tonight's matches, first of all, it's not over yet. But don't forget the finals is on Saturday, and that is going to be some amazing Overwatch, if I do say so myself.
And there is no bad outcome for that particular final as well. I mean, Runaway finally getting themselves an Apex victory. GC Busan making that Royal Road. Oh, watching Prophet play just in general because it's so damn good. It'll be very impressive, but let's make our way back into the present as Neko is getting the heck beaten out of him. Rascal going to be the first one to fall down, though, so it's going well for the NC Foxes on the defense.
Yeah, Neko with a great biotic grenade there as well to heal everybody up. Birdring really struggling to get that pick. Finally does get it, though. They can certainly still turn this fight. The respawn coming in.
You can see Hyuki just wants to try and get this kill. Does so with that last fadeaway bullet and throws in the pulse bomb to get Sashin out of the mech. This is such beautiful Tracer play from the man that we knew as the best Tracer in Apex. Sometimes there have been some plays out of players like Prophet that really make us doubt whether it is Birdring that's who is that man, but that series of play was certainly demonstrating that he is a killer. And that triple fire grenade.
Okay, that actually could turn this around. Look, they're even going to toss in the nano here onto Kino.
Oh,
this ain't over yet.
God, okay.
That was such a great grenade. It hit every single member, which gave him enough to get the nano, which allowed Kino to do this in the first place. That's what I'm talking about. Birdring had a fantastic run there, but all it takes is one set of 5 players emoting on the point to ruin everything.
That's going to ruin your day.
That's literally what they were doing. They didn't see that grenade coming through, and now they sit at 95%, but the time is ticking down. Could have been a much better situation here. Look at this. Sitting there literally emoting. Boom. From behind. And he's going to get the nano, tosses it into Kino.
All too easy. They thought that they were easily going to be able to grab that. You can see the percentage. It was so incredibly close.
95.
Yeah. Cloud9 KongDoo, they do have the sound barrier now available as Sominsu is in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down, actually decides that he'll take his own life. You know, he wants to be in charge of that himself, as Bedoshin's going to be able to get rid of Sashin, or at least get him out of his mech. Neko falling means no more of these fancy grenades going to come in. And Fisher holding on to the Primal Rage. Pumple throws in his, but is still going to fall down too low. And finally, we're going to have point A captured by Cloud9.
This is just a mechanical outclassing from this team. You know, that fight they won that got them to the 95% was done without Rascal, and while Fisher was asleep. With Birdring, they won a 4v6.
I'm pretty sure that was like a 1v6, so let's be honest. Birdring almost took that entire thing on his own. Self-destructs coming in next to each other. Pumple and Sashin, yeah, both going to fall down. That timing is brilliant because there's just not a lot of options for a Pilot Diva in that particular circumstance, but at least NC Fox is able to get a couple of clawback kills. They might be able to help this one out. Defender's advantage is going to need to be one hell of an advantage, though, as they keep respawning, trying to make their way back in. Cloud9 KongDoo still a couple of members away from this point, but they're holding on to control. That grenade not quite going to be enough here onto Fisher at the same time, and KongDoo just holding on to that sound barrier. Waka Waka, brilliant timing as Bedoshin actually, like, he was about to fall down, gets the sound barrier, and they complete all of the kills and complete Horizon extraordinarily quickly.
Talking about Void's self-destructs being kind of the crux of his character as a player here in Apex.
Yeah.
The trade there meant that he was demeched and he tried to remech using pilot form, but even though he died, it didn't matter because in the grand scheme of things, the pick of Sashin, which then actually led to Sashin's death, he didn't remech either, and the lack of defense matrix just meant that it was a field day for Birdring again. And again and again and again, you leave Birdring these opportunities and he will just scoop them up. So a fantastic time bank here, 446 on a map that's very difficult to get completion on in Korea. I know in other regions it ends up being a very, often we see ties on this map, but not in Korea. So let's see what the Foxes are going to bring to the table here.
It's easily the quickest assault map, especially in Korea. Like,
yeah.
We've just, it's either you've got a team that's extraordinarily good on defense and somehow they're miraculously able to grab point A, but you just don't often see ties on this map.
Yeah, it's funny because we see a lot of full holds on this map in Korea too. I think a lot of this goes...
it's strange because that means that there probably should be ties, right?
But I think that the reason why this happens, or the reason why we're talking about this, is because there's been a lot of recent you know, Horizon play, and there's been a lot of recent stompy matchups and full sweeps, right? So
yeah, it's
kind of a stat that we have to explore a bit further. But yeah, in Korea we do see a lot of one-sided maps. This could be yet another one of those where we do see the favorite team here, Cloud9 KongDoo, get a full hold. Absolutely a strong possibility. Now, Sominsu is going to, again, be on this Genji. Sashin's on the Diva. Unfortunate for the Foxes, but that's just how this story goes when you don't have Rhea in the booth.
Yeah, and Cloud9 KongDoo are actually thinking about going for the Doomfist, but Rascal going to move over to the Genji himself as he's dashing around having a great time.
Okay, Neko is going to be on the Ana again. He played very well on defense here. He's had some clutch bio grenades and some good sleeps here. See if he can make it happen again.
Yeah, well, NC Foxes want to try and get a decent attempt here as Aquino pops his head around and says, well, I don't want to go back there. That was a little bit of a worry. See Birdring just being frustrating, getting himself into this backline position to try and get this pick. And oh, Neko not exactly in a great position, but he decides to forego that, wants to get rid of this Diva mech. And this target prioritization certainly is something that Cloud9 KongDoo have gotten better at over the last couple of weeks.
Definitely. And, you know, NC Foxes are just going to, again, look for, I think, a big combo here with Dragon Blade. They're even in terms of Dragon Blade percentage right now with the left-click pokes. I think they shouldn't actually hyper-commit yet until they have a better opportunity. It is going to be Neko the target, but good protection from Sashin. And they actually get the kill backwards onto Bedoshin here.
Yeah, and it was Rascal not being able to grab that pick onto Neko at the same time. He was really going for that, but Neko's just been brilliant at keeping himself alive with these clutch grenades, keeping the rest of his team in there as well. And you can see now, able to heal up all of these tanks, has some time to throw out a little bit of a flare there as well. Yeah, gets rid of Waka Waka as that 1-2 punch does fly through. Cloud9 KongDoo easily able to get one back though as Kino gets rid of the mech, and that is very important. Birdring, well, that was a bit of a party grenade, not exactly the kind of one that you are looking for. NC Foxes looking to try and finish off this attack. Not quite able to stick it just yet as Rascal with the Dragon Blade comes in and gets rid of the Diva mech, gets rid of the Diva.
They were so close to having everything they could have ever asked for, the barrier, the nano blade, and they had the kill advantage, but Rascal shut it all down. Might actually die for it here, getting a little bit aggressive. But the thing is, the Foxes didn't even get a single tick, so now when they try to use this combo, it's not going to be as effective. Even if they win the fight, I don't think they'll be able to get the capture with this. They would have been able to get had they gotten a tick or two just a moment ago.
Yeah, really good pulse one, softening up a lot on the side of Cloud9 KongDoo there, as Sominsu going to try his Dragon Blade. Actually not finding too many targets though, as everyone's just running around, doesn't find anyone. The rest of his team, however, still able to get work done, as Sashin always seems to be the man that we're talking about at the end of these fights, and he's the one that was able to really create the space and control here for NC Foxes to get onto this point. Now halfway through the cap, and this should actually be full completion as we move to point B.
Yeah, they actually will get this done. Cloud9 KongDoo not coming in with a strong resistance there, so despite the fact that they didn't have a single tick, they were able to make that happen there. And yeah, it's funny because Sashin's greatest strength on the D.Va is his defense matrix. He's picking up a lot of kills, and what that says about him is he actually has good tracking on the D.Va. You don't say that about a D.Va, but because he's actually in the kill feed so often, you know he's targeting down those members that are fleeing and getting those kills.
And able to use that booster as well to really add extra damage, change up his positioning here, as well as self-destruct is going to fly in. Doesn't exactly net any kills, but yeah, barrier does come down, and we've got this one ticking up as well. Very close to that first tick is Cloud9 KongDoo. A lot of ultimates, but a lot of red X's there on the top of your screen, as you can see. Not exactly controlling themselves as the first tick does finally come in. Sashin going to be killed towards the end there, so able to get about 50%.
I think Birdring was literally in 17 different places during the part of that fight. Like, if watching Birdring in this moment doesn't give you motion sickness, yeah, I don't know what will. This is actually insane. He's just so mobile, so understanding where his dashes will get him the most amount of damage potential. As you can see, getting that sick kick, quick kill there onto Neko, and that is going to be the hold here. So already we've passed the threshold for time banks here. Cloud9 KongDoo going to have the better one no matter what. Potentially could still hold this second point. But yeah, you give Birdring just any sort of window, man, and he's going to find those kills on the back line. He's just so good. His blinks to get into position are really, really well done.
Well, Void had to go
look
for
at that.
hero
There's another
swap, so recharging his Birdring, yeah, just going to be able to pop a Kino. He's having a great Horizon run, to be honest. Rascal now with a Dragon Blade. Just having a party.
Max
Buckle
range
going to
kills.
fall. This is all too easy for Cloud9 KongDoo, but they are investing the ultimates that they did pick up. 5 kills in a row means that they're certainly going to be able to do it. Mata indeed, Rascal.
Mata, max range shots on all those members. 3 kills, nearly the 4th one there onto Pumple, doing the majority of the damage before he fell. Now the Foxes are going to have, as you say, an ult advantage because they didn't use anything there, whereas Cloud9 KongDoo did use aggressive ultimates, namely the Dragon Blade. They will have the Nano Blade available for this attack. It's just going to be using it blind, just going in, hoping for broke here.
Yep, Discord means that he's just straight up dead though. Okay, Birdring going to be able to find one once again. I didn't know whether that Pulse Bomb was going to be able to find the target, but why would I ever doubt Birdring, especially not after this incredible Lunar Colony run that he's had thus far.
That was so forced as well. You almost never see a top 4 Apex team just go, okay, I nanoed you, go kill them. Usually how nano works like that is you try to get a lot of damage done before you even pop your Dragon Blade, and the nano is very reactionary. The Genji tells the Ana to nano him because he knows he's in a good position. The Ana does not tell the Genji to Dragon Blade because he nanoed the Genji. You know, it was a bit of a Hail Mary attempt there that just simply fell flat on its face.
Yeah, and the fact that he immediately got discarded as well is the big problem with Kino. Oh, that's going to be eaten. No Pulse Bomb value going to come in here, but Void's still probably going to lose the mech. Does so actually throws out the self-destruct to try and get himself back into the mech. Does get back in as well as Cloud9 KongDoo, able to utilize that to get themselves the advantage. It's the team wipe. There's only 2 minutes now remaining for the NC Foxes. Once again, all about the Divas. They put so much into Void, but last minute, throws out the self-destruct, gets himself into a safe position. Not entirely sure how he managed to do that, but gets back into the mech. Defense matrices aplenty, and Cloud9 KongDoo roll over the top.
He's just really good at remeching quickly. Obviously, the more damage you can do, and if you have good frontline actually helping you do that damage, you get back in the mech so fast. Uh-oh, Neko is so dead.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more dead at this moment.
And it's just like so free. It's like fishing in a tiny little pond, you know, and that's exactly what Birdring did. Threw in the Pulse Bomb, kills all of the fish in that particular area. And by Fish, I mean NC Fox's players. And once again, now it's just the trickle back. Birdring wanting to take his time here as the staggered kill's certainly going to work out, but doesn't actually get any of the stragglers.
I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like one of the biggest strengths of Birdring's Tracer play is his understanding of blink range, and where he's going to be when the recall is over to maximize damage. His aim is good, but any aim, or any Tracer players in the top 4 of Apex is going to be fantastic, right? But his understanding of how to blink is why it's hard to actually follow him without getting a headache, right? Because he just knows where to be.
And he also knows how to deliver a pulse bomb, Wolf. As Yok once again going to feel the wrath. Both supports dealt with by Birdring on his own. Rascal as well getting rid of Sominsu. That's a big problem for NC Foxes. And we're sub 1 minute now, ticking down to about 30 seconds. And NC Foxes, yeah, they've got 4 ultimates, but you have to be alive to be able to use them. You have to all be there on the point in order to get the work done. And you're playing against a team that has a 5-minute time bank.
And they don't have any initiation with this comp. It's going to have to be kill Void, who doesn't have self-destruct. They know this. Kill Void and then use the tac visor. Focus down the D.Va, eliminate that defense matrix. That's the game plan here for NC Foxes. Because Cloud9 is playing support.
Oh, God. This could actually just all be over right now. As Sashin falling down, Akino falling down beforehand. Look at how far away from the point they are. We've got the Dragon Blade thrown out here by Rascal. He wants to be able to get at least 1 kill, but the fact that they're not coming through all at the same time actually is better here for Cloud9 KongDoo as we're ticking down the timer. Pumple jumping on top of this point to try and make sure the overtime remains. And he is at least able to jump on top of Void, who is trying to get himself off here. And okay, sound barrier comes in. NC Foxes now with the overtime, with the fact that the respawns are going to be a little bit longer
Void
on
has
the side of Cloud9
though.
KongDoo. But yeah, this is the problem. Throws out the self-destruct, hops back into the mech once again.
Birdring onto the Bastion here as well. Surprise, surprise. We're going to see this used. Fans screaming here in the studio. Headshots aplenty. And I think that is going to be the beginning of the end here, simply put, is all support ultimates gone now for the Foxes. Good pulse, but no one's on the point. Yeah. And, you know, I was so worried for Cloud9 KongDoo when I saw how forward they were playing. But then we have to realize that they were just spawn camping and they were having a good time, because they just simply are. As I've said 17 times this series, I'll say it an 18th time.
The fact that you kept track of how many times you said it is like really impressive.
So they've mechanically outclassing this team on every level. And I feel like the player who's having the best day is Neko on the side of the Foxes, but even he's not free of blame. You know, that Dragon Blade with the Nano that was so forced was really just not what they needed to have. That was when they had their best chance to get a cap or get a tick early.
Everyone knows that moment though, you know. It's like when you're in competitive and you've got the Nano Blade available and you're like, all right, okay, let's coordinate this, guys. Just nano me, and then you immediately die. Like
when he nanoed there, I don't think that was when Suminsu wanted to go in. But when you get nanoed, you can't just be like, well, I'm not going in. Then you waste a nano, so he forced it. It didn't happen. We are flying into escort here,
dude,
by the way.
This is insane. There's no analysis to go on at all. It's like, oh, it's Lunar Colony. Who cares? We went to the moon for a little while, but we're back now. Gonna head straight over to Dorado.
This will be now NC Fox's highest pick map this season. It'll be the 4th time choosing it, and it's a map where they're going to try to again use Suminsu's Soldier, but they don't have. I mean, one of the things they could use here, if they're running a different comp with Rhea, is again that pharmacy. Not available, not usable when Rhea is not in the bench, or sorry, not in the booth. It's a Cloud9 KongDoo.
He certainly is there.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 KongDoo is just poised to close this one out. Don't even really have much more to say about it. I feel like this series is already over.
Let's put on some music and we'll just see what happens. No, this could be the time. This could be the reverse sweep opportunity in the best of 7 for the NC Foxes. Not sure whether I completely agree, but I want to as we head to Dorado.
I get it.
All right, NC Foxes fans still believe, much like I was trying to. Wolf has checked out. He's actually left, guys, so it's just going to be me keeping you company. That's not true. No, he's still here. Damn it, okay. No, I turned his headset off.
Well, Sashin's on the Pharah, but
no, he's not.
He's not. He's really not. He wants to be. We want him to be.
Yeah,
but
Sashin's like, I'm in jail. I'm in Diva jail. Ah.
you have 2 Tracer players, one of which who can play Doomfist. So you did sometimes see the Kino
Both
Doomfist.
of which
Like
can actually
we
play
literally,
the Doomfist,
we
yeah.
literally only saw this DPS duo used when it was Tracer Doomfist for this team, which is how they got to the round of 8. They used Sashin to get through the round of 8 on the Pharmacy. Is this going to be a Diva-less comp? I guess so. Let's watch it happen. All right, it's going to be Neko, who's one of the best Mercies in Korea, by the way. His positioning is really good, but without Diva and with Rascal on the McCree, let's see how well this plays out. It's
yeah. Look, I like new strategies.
You have triple DPS on the lineup. I guess try to triple DPS it.
This is certainly not the normal triple DPS that we're used to seeing. You know, sometimes you have a soldier. I mean, at least he's got the biofield. Keep everyone a little bit topped up. This time around, at least it's just going to be Pumple leading the charge as the only tankers. Yeah, they're making it work here. Triple kill coming in here from Sasha, who's like, I've been released. It's my redemption moment. Grabs his 4th kill. And NC Fox is pushing this cart like you wouldn't believe.
You know, Diva can't always protect the Pharah, but can really put a lot of harassment onto the long-range hit scan. But in this case, they just made that harassment not via a, kind of bruisery tank, but just by dive on top. So we're
yes, we've got the floating monkey here as well coming out from Pumple, charging up that damage. Gets himself down to the hole, doesn't exactly do too much, but the card is at least stopped.
Let's see if they can actually get in here and finish this one off. Like, Sasha takes out Bedosha. This looks pretty reasonable here. Kino gonna get that pick. Res to keep Pumple up. They've got a lot of sustain now.
Yeah,
Pumple
they've basically got 2 tanks, because he does get brought back up again, and Void's gonna lose his life and his mech. Kino jumping his way around. Fisher presses his favorite button, which is the Q. Often it's a little bit early, and that time a little bit unnecessary as Sashin throws in the barrage, gets rid of Birdring, and that is going to be the first point taken.
Well,
and this weird composition's working.
At least they now have Kino on his best, role. They have Sashin on his best role. Neko is, again, I think possibly the best player on this team, and they can make this work. They already have so far. I think Cloud9 and KongDoo is trying to react to this right now. Like, okay, triple DPS, that's a bit weird. He's going to be discorded already here is Sominsu, so not going to last very long.
Yeah, and then flashbanged and destroyed as Cloud9 KongDoo is saying, yes, you've got a cute little composition, but see you later.
This is just kind of a funny game we're watching. I feel like this is kind of we're just going to watch an experiment occur live here. Let's see if this works. Like, that was a bit of a fail blade, and the Discord was there, but Ocean reacting quickly.
And I like that you were talking about Sashin, like he's now on his Pharah. It's great. Neko, one of the best players on this team, on the Mercy that he's great at. Akino, brilliant Tracer, and then Sominsu's having a good time, I think. Yeah, because he honestly has not been super impressive, but as I say it, able to at least take down Bedosin here on the back line. It's okay. Damage coming in, but not actually finding anywhere near the kill.
Before today, he has played in career 3 minutes and 35 seconds of Genji. He's playing it because they don't have Rhea, and Sashin wants to play this, this Pharah, and he's not able to play the Diva, so they're trying this triple DPS. I mean, it has found more success, frankly, than I thought it would.
Yeah, me too.
They have the res available, so they can use that to kind of bait Pumple into a free kill, but he's way away from that res now. At least they do get him out of there. Doesn't die to the Deadeye.
Yep, Nolly's full cam coming in here as Bedoshin's going to be able to get rid of Neko.
Yeah, it means no res like I was talking about.
Yeah, it's trying to tick up to that now. So, of course, didn't have it available, but with Fisher getting rid of Pumple, there's no frontline. Somitsu goes down in a matter of seconds, and Akino, I mean, he's just going to be dashing away to try and save himself and Birdring. Hot on the heels of Hyok, who's honestly been in his sightlines almost this entire series.
I'm not really sure what Pumple's Primal Rage into the Foundry alone was designed to do. I mean, the cart is very close, so maybe the idea was, okay, if everyone chases him, maybe we might get the sneak cap there, but when he died and Neko died before he could res, then Pumple fell right afterwards, only one support. The push ended there, and now
it's one of those like interesting strategy cart, and we'll see how it pays off. And it just did not.
Now they're missing the Primal Rage, so that's one of their biggest tools, one of the most important tools to actually finish completion here on point B, and going to be sorely missing it now.
Kino in trouble. Neko's going to be able to bring up Sominsu, but Birdring That Tracer battle was a difficult one. Void's going to get rid of Neko. Sashin with the barrage gets rid of Rascal. This actually could be an opportunity now, but because Void was there, had the defense matrix available, meant that Sashin not going to be able to complete too many more kills. Doesn't suicide though, which is certainly a good thing. Low health bar onto Void here though. Needs to get Bedosian over here. We need Orbs of Harmony. We need to be able to charge up towards that Transcendence.
In fact, he's probably happy you got that low because that's just going to be more free Transcendence percentage here.
Yeah, if he can get back there in time. Sort of takes him a little while to float his way back over, but this positioning for Cloud9 KongDoo on the defense, if they can just hold here, could be very, very difficult for NC Foxes, and there's not a lot of time now, you know? It's like sitting on 1, 2, 3, minute 20.
He's just waiting for Kino to come around to get the kill, although supports are dead.
Deadeye flies through, not actually able to get anything into Kino, just delivers a pulse bomb. Kino off to the side, Void grabs a double somehow. Okay, maybe Sominsu thought that he could reflect it, certainly couldn't.
Well, this is now going to be a pretty tough spot for the Foxes. They had the advantage in terms of members, but no longer really anymore. Birdwing uncontested here, still has recall available, mind you. And that what could have been a capture just because of careless positioning against Voids. Another one of his shoot the dunk self-destructs here is going to put an end to this push and perhaps put an end to the Foxes for attack on this map with the long run back here. They killed both supports.
To go. Yeah, not a lot of ultimates either on the side of the NC Foxes, so just not very many good news stories. I mean, Dragonblade is certainly one of them, but Somitsu has not had his greatest Dorado that we have ever seen. Composition's cute. Sasha now going to be moving over to the Diva. And we have what I like to call the failed... Oh, okay, never mind. Somitsu going to be able to at least get Waka Waka out of this one, and Pumple getting rid of Bedosian means that there's no support.
He wants to chase down Void here with this Dragonblade. Will get him. Void didn't have that self-destruct to try to potentially remag. This has to be it for the Fox. They have to win this with Sashin back on the Diva. They have a lot of sustain in order to make it happen. Looks like they will do it.
Yeah, well, Fisher actually jumping up almost causes that one to happen much more quickly, but Rascal going to be taken out by Sominsu. And Rascal, I just want you to go onto the Doomfist, man. I just feel like it's so good here in the power plant. It's been just committing to this Genji.
I think there's a high chance he will switch after the Dragonblade comes out. You know, he's got 2 sport elements coming up, so I think holding onto it for the moment, I think is a good choice. I think there's a very high chance we will see that swap after. Sominsu, though, very similarly, was surprised to not see him go to what's historically been his best hero here.
Yeah, and their best composition over the side of the NC Foxes as well. They get a lot of their work done, like you said earlier, with the Tracer Doomfist, and Fisher's going to be able to get rid of Neko jumping into the backline, but Sashin getting rid of Fisher should be helping. NC Fox is actually committing a fair bit, but Ocean as well. Transcendence has been used. Birdring makes short work of Sasha.
Okay, Rascal going to get that deflection pulse bomb kill on Kino. Deflects the pulse. And the Foxes, I mean, they're on dire straits. This is
like
their last.
The funnest game of like hot potato as well, you know, when you deflect that.
So this is their last chance, you know. I think that, like, in this moment when they have the longer fight, if the Transcendence can buy them time to get that Dragonblade, this could work out for them, but they've got such a long push to go. If Birdring picks anybody, that's game over. Looking for the pick onto the Transcendence there. Doesn't get it. Neko lives.
Yeah, but KongDoo's still going to be able to jump their way forward. Fisher just grabs both of the supports in one fell swoop. Self-destruct flying up into the sky as well is going to be answered here on both sides. Sasha wants to get back into that mech as quickly as possible, and they're the ones that are actually able to get some of these kills. Akino following up with the kill onto Rascal as well is very important, means that he's not going to be able to get himself towards another Dragonblade for this map most likely. Sominsu dashing through as well. Okay, still a ways to go, but
Rascal,
every meter is important.
Rascal on that Doomfist you were looking for. That's one way they can shut down this Genji here. Transcendence, he better not die here. That is their biggest tool right now. Really their only tool to force this through, to win the longer fight. Okay, Rascal looking for those picks. Is going to go down here. Transcendence a little bit late for Bedosian, in fact.
Yeah, now the fight is on for Cloud9 KongDoo. They want to get them off this point, but it's the NC Foxes. They're just going to backcap it. Void gets himself onto the payload in the nick of time, but it was so close, and that is going to be the full push against all odds. I mean, that point B defense was so good from C9, but NC Foxes, they find a way. They get it in the end.
I think it has to be said, though, that Cloud9 KongDoo is not following the rules in terms of what they're trying to do here. They are very much trying to showboat a little bit. We're seeing dives that are basically unheard of that would not work against another team. You know, if this was the semifinals and we were seeing not triple DPS for some odd reason out of NC Foxes, then like things like this wouldn't work as well. And I think that's kind of what ended up being the reason why Foxes were able to finish the point there. We saw Rascal try the Doomfist, got picked, but Ocean, if his Transcendence was 1 second earlier, it could have been a totally different story. But you know, the thing for the Foxes is they're just not playing to their strengths here, and well, they're not for the series, I should say. They tried to play to their strengths by putting Sashin onto the Pharah on attack with the triple DPS, threw Cloud9 KongDoo for a little bit of a surprise. Still got the completion, so this is their best chance so far we've seen to take a map, at least since they won the first point of control. And Suminsu looking to run the Widow here, so again a triple DPS coming through, boosted by Neko's Mercy.
Yep, trying to get them body shots onto Birdring.
Can work.
This is a new composition out from Cloud9 KongDoo that they're hovering for the moment. That is fun. Fish are doing some suicide inside the base. That's the fun stuff.
Thanks for showing us your Mercy wings. Not anyone in the world would ever be upset by Mercy at this moment in time with the meta.
That
no
point
one.
looked like my Diablo character.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you know, we're just going to see the Sonic Arrow tossed out here. Normal comp here. Void going back to the D.Va. It's going to be the Genji Tracer that Cloud9 KongDoo just wants to close this series out, seal their fight money with. They said that the Foxes were a fight money machine, vending machine, and they're about to put in the quarters, let's say, is what they're thinking to do here.
Well, NC Foxes actually getting that full completion does mean that it's very difficult for Cloud9 KongDoo to have an easy run of this. But you can see Birdring now setting himself up as NC Foxes will demonstrate that they've got a very, very far back boosted Widow waiting for them to get around this corner. And as the first shot flies through, Rascal realizes what his job is as he finds him. Yeah, really nice headshots as well with those shurikens.
Fantastic accuracy.
Oh, I'm not sure how he's even managing to do that. But
takes out the trap.
Yeah.
Now he's just going to try to get this pick. Deflection available. Yep.
Yeah, just holds onto it.
Builds up 42.
Yeah. Neko being able to revive him as well means that Rascal is eventually going to fall down, but means that the rest of his team has a little bit more space. Birdring now needs to be very, very careful, though. That Widow's going to be looking for him.
Okay, Birdring again looking for the pick onto Pumple, who's flexed now onto the D.Va. I actually like this comp. I like this more than the Winstonless comp, to be honest, with how they're trying to run this, because they're not really trying to dive. They don't need to dive. They're just to protect their DPSs here.
Well, Pulse Bomb not actually going to find any value there at all from Kino. As Waka Waka in trouble. Not entirely sure what he was doing all the way over there, but Sashin's going to be the one that takes him down. Rascal finally getting rid of Neko in the sky, and does this mean they'll be able to get that point A completion? Looks like it, as Dragon Blade is going to be committed to as well. No more D.Va mechs. And that is going to be a very dead pilot D.Va at the same time. So NC Foxes will need to try and book it if they want to stop this payload. It's likely just to be heading over, hopping straight onto this point. So that's going to be that. Point A very, very fast here for Cloud9 KongDoo, as expected.
So Neko's holding on to the res. They didn't want to try to contest. Too far away, too long of a run back there. And they're going to stick with the Widowmaker for now. I don't know how long they're going to really do this. I think after the res, we'll probably see a comp switch if Foxes really want to play meta here.
That doesn't look like they do.
Yeah, they've shown us the opposite, at least on Dorado so far. As Birdring is really just trying to play the sneak game here. Looking for the pick on the Suminsu.
Yep,
Nearly gets him.
Yeah, Void's going to get rid of Pumple, though, so absolutely no defensive options whatsoever. Pulse Bomb flies through, gets Bit Ocean, and there's the double res. Oh, see you later, buddy. Suminsu's like, how can I get out of this? Ah, it's Rascal with the triple kill. Really nicely played. Birdring just firing away as he likes. Absolutely nothing to worry about whatsoever. Suminsu finally switching over to this soldier, as Sashin will see whether he's now going to be moving. But Dragon Blade is available, so I have a feeling we're going to be sticking with triple DPS. Pumple over to the Winston.
We knew it was going to be a switch as soon as they used the res there and after the Widow was picked. So Cloud9 KongDoo during all this switch will, of course, gain an ult advantage, will be able to free push this point, but it's going to be, this next part is the toughest part here. We do see the Sound Barrier used very early. No Dragon Blade from Sasha, in fact. Neko's dead. And this is fantastic for Cloud9 KongDoo.
So Mitsu not able to do any killing at all. He's just running around. Fisher with the Primal Rage. Actually, he's the one getting the work done as Birdring pops in and says, well, it looks like you're not able to get this one, Rascal. I'll finish this one.
I'm pretty sure Rascal's pretty mad about that because he clearly was trying to get the kill from Deflect. He wasn't even trying to kill Sumitsu, otherwise he would have died much faster. His kill was stolen by a more serious Birdring who just wants to go home with the 4-0 tonight. So that happened.
They need to get that third place trophy into their trophy case, man. We heard about this, the fact that they bought a trophy case and they don't have any trophies to put in it.
Yeah, they want
which
that
is
bronze.
weird because they should at least have a silver from last season.
Yeah, there's no trophies for silver, man. Only regrets.
Only third and first. That's all you're getting. So he's going for the third place trophy.
All right, well, good hold here from the Foxes on the high ground. Sumitsu's building up towards that tack.
Yeah, but Cloud9 KongDoo maybe wanting to get a little bit of a switch up as far as composition as we move into more enclosed territory, but most likely not. We see often the Tracer Genji as the opted in for composition inside this area as well. It's not like we've got a pharmacy or anything like that to worry about. So holding on to all these ultimates and are just going to be escorting the payload once more after those couple of kills for NC Fox.
So they're basically just sitting up here with the Tac Visor being kind of their only tool. It's the golden egg they're holding on to right now. But if he dies, then they can't use it. Great barrier here coming out from Fisher means that he can't really get much damage done. Dragon Blade is denied here, but Pumple has to commit to that Primal Rage.
And Sumitsu Tac Visor actually flies all the way out. Does manage to land some of the bullets, but honestly not able to secure any of the kills. Neko with the Transcendence available as well, didn't need to invest it. Sound Barrier about to come back up now for the NC Foxes. Another opportunity for them to get a fight back, but Ocean with the Transcendence earlier on was what helped out against that Tac Visor, and now Sound Barrier flying through. Aquino with the double right into the back line. That's what we wanted. And after the Sound Barrier came down as well, Waka Waka not going to have that for a very long time, and now the finish off of these kills. Rascal had moved over to the McCree, actually. That was the option that he decided to go for after the denial of that particular Dragon Blade came in, and Void resets himself by jumping off the edge.
Yep. Did want to get that little shot in there for Sumitsu, so he got the elimination. He wants the gold medal in kills. I think he's probably a bit far behind Kino in that regard after what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
The Foxes, though, they hold fast for now. There's certainly a chance they could grab this defense because they did force out a lot of ultimates to be used. Cloud9 playing very sloppy. Birdring just going to look for a back pick as he slowly back caps here. Looking for the kill onto Sashin. Just a second too late is that Sound Barrier, so
yeah, loses the mech. That is the huge problem. But Ocean, though, is going to fall to the self-destruct. It's just really frustrating when he can't move fast as a man that hovers. As Rascal gets the headshot onto Aquino, this could be actually very, very important. One of the worst things for a McCree is that Tracer, and now nowhere to be seen as Cloud9 continue this attack run. Sumitsu with the Tac Visor, but he's not in the right position to try and get the work done. Had to expose himself too much, and Waka Waka gets back, has the Sound Barrier, and Rascal and Birdring team up to destroy NC Foxes. Okay, Neko trying to turn this one around. Sits on the cart with this Transcendence. Rascal still free hitting, and Waka Waka sitting there healing him back up.
Oh, great shots here at range from Rascal as well. The feet shots under the payload, a very common thing to see on Dorado. Tossing in the stun. And as this Transcendence wears away, this is going to be NC Fox's last chance to stop the point. This looks pretty unlikely. Deadeye coming through. Sashin shot out of the mech, and that is going to be completion here with a little bit of time bank on the clock.
Yeah, close to a minute, but you'll take 46 seconds any day of the week.
The crux of this defense, or sorry, this failed defense for the Foxes was when Sashin was knocked out of the mech. Birdring has had his number all night long. When he was about to beat Namek, Hyuk used Sound Barrier, which didn't save his mech, which meant he had to self-destruct in that moment, which meant they used 2 ultimates there, and he didn't have the remech for further contention. From that moment on, it was free hitting, as you said, coming out from Rascal, and no Diva mech means you're going to have a great time in these areas where McCree is just given all room to work with, and it's just basically, I mean, at this point, like, Rascal is showing us another tool that he's got in his war chest here. The Foxes, let's see what they do on attack now. Looks like they are really, really interested in continuing this triple DPS. It caught Cloud9 KongDoo by surprise the first time. Let's see if it works this time.
Well, currently just hovering some things, but Cloud9 KongDoo thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they head back to a similar composition. All of them teaming up here to go for some sort of cheeky surprise attack. Often high ground is what people want, but nope. Rascal just being the ninja to scout things out.
Okay, so Pumple's going to stick with the D.Va. I like this actually a lot more than the Winston. You don't need Winston to dive when you already have double DPS with this. So triple DPS total, of course, but the D.Va is going to offer you a lot more in terms of long-term sustain and damage prevention. They don't know about Cloud9 KongDoo's sneak attack here. They're going to flank. Here they come. Backline exposed. And remember, they know it's just a single tank.
Yeah, Sominsu just going to get evaporated, and this is just brilliant placement. Too much surprise coming in here from Cloud9 KongDoo, and not a lot that Sashin can do when the rest of his team just gets obliterated. Birdering with that, what was that snapback kill into Neko? That was insane.
And this is so cool when your opponent only has 1 minute of time. You ruined everything they were trying to do. They build no ult percentage, and this card is just sitting there, you know, very immobile, barely moving forward, just trying to approach the archway only now, and all they need to do is win one fight, and the card stops in its tracks.
And Aquino actually going to fall to Birdering here. Thankfully, Sominsu's in there with the Helix Rocket to try and get rid of him. But Rascal wants to do his best Who Are You impression, and Fisher going to finish that one off as Neko just cannot get any playtime at the moment. Overtime is now going to start, and Cloud9 are the ones that have been able to pick up a couple of these picks. Sashin running around, but he will die. Void's there with the long-range D.Va to lock down that one last health point.
No res. Neko's going to switch, in fact. Doesn't even want to continue to run the Mercy here, but this looks disastrous now for the Foxes as overtime is going to tick faster and faster every moment.
Yeah, and only up to this archway is where they've made it thus far. Overtime ticks down. Cloud9 KongDoo hold them off so easily. We're going to have one hell of a defense from the NC Foxes to bring us to another game. Like, oh God. Really worrying stuff, because that archway is normally where you defend after that on this particular point on Dorado, you know, like, that's crazy. They only need to make it to where the cart is generally beginning to be contested.
This comes back to that
the surprise move, right?
The surprise move, you know, that attack, and basically what we saw is this move that was well coordinated, well hidden from Cloud9 KongDoo. It's like when you see on the Korean server a lot of Torbjorn strats, even on non-Torbjorn maps like this one, especially in solo queue, because if someone says in comms, like, all right, let's do this weird Torbjorn strat or this Bastion strat, they won't be prepared for it, they won't know what's going to happen. When you do capture in overtime and you only have 1 minute, you lose half your minute trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, like, what do we do to this?
Yeah.
And also, you need to then go out, try and attack with whatever you've decided to go for, and then it doesn't work and you've wasted 30 seconds.
So basically, like, in this case, it wasn't that kind of tricky comp, it was just a tricky position, and boom, 30 seconds of your time is gone. Half of your time bank vanishes in a moment. Now they're going to have a stellar defense here in order to stop this. This cart barely moved at all. It looks like Birdering wants to show the Widow again here. With the Sonic Arrow, they spot Kino really early. Oh, that was so sick!
That was so sick from Birdering. Didn't even know that the Widowmaker was going to be here, and now it's a disaster that they've got this pharmacy. It's just food for this Widow. And they're already halfway to making it as the third place holders for Season 4. Finally, some reasonably good news for Cloud9 KongDoo as they head towards Overwatch League.
Yeah, looking for the 4-0 here. They are just a few meters away, 3.5.
And Birdering going to find Aquino once again. Rascal now just flying over rooftops. He's pretty much Mary Poppins right now, picking up kills, but Ocean's going to be the one that gets rid of Sashin, and he's going to be joined up by Fisher. Like, no more supports, no more lives, and we are so close to that golden parking spot. There it goes. Cloud9 KongDoo are going to complete the 4-0 and take third place here for Apex Season 4.
And they're going to get that 4-0 fight money as well to add to their prize to take home here.
Looks like the vending machine is working just as well as it always has been.
Indeed. So, going to grab that extra 3.2 mil, put it in the team funding, as well as the better prize pool for third over fourth place.
That might be able to get an upgrade on one of their tickets to London, you know, like
maybe.
Nicely done. We could be going business class, and I'd probably give it to Birdring, to be honest.
So
that guy played real good.
Is this, though, the story of redemption for Cloud9 KongDoo? I think the answer is no. They were able to take the 4-0 over Foxes. They outclassed them in terms of mechanics. Did we see anything new for Cloud9 KongDoo? Did we see anything revolutionary? No. But I think that tonight, at least, they were able to take the 4-0. If they had dropped even a single map, no one goes home happy tonight. They get the 4-0. And I think for Cloud9 KongDoo, we have to look towards the future. We have to look towards Overwatch League. That is where they are going to impress people. That is where they're going to have their redemption story. In this third, fourth place match where we saw even a little bit of showboating out of this team, I don't think anyone's going to say, well, they beat NC Foxes 4-0, so we can't be down on what they were able to accomplish. This was not their moment to take back glory.
Yeah, and honestly, that was the Seoul Cup. That was when they had the opportunity to take down Lunatic Kai in an opportunity that they didn't necessarily get at all. Like, I mean, there was no chance to get revenge against the Season 3 victors in that incredible 7-game series. Smiles on the faces of Cloud9 KongDoo, despite the fact that, like you said, it's not exactly the sweetest victory that they've ever had.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go to Overwatch League, try and take some names, and they're not going to be heading there with the sort of notoriety that they really wanted to, that they had the opportunity to get themselves over the last couple of days.
They won't be coming with their heads held high. They'll have their heads at half-mast, so to speak. And for the Foxes, they had an incredible season. No one expected them to make it this far. They came through with flying colors. Sashin made a name for himself on the DPS. And I think that if I'm going to make a bold prediction after this series, if there's one player that upgrades teams going into the next season, a roster swap, I think that's going to be Neko. I think he definitely deserves a better spot. We're going to see Fisher's play of the game here.
And honestly, Fisher wasn't all that impressive at the beginning of this series, but really was able to get the dives at the right times towards the end of the series, and that's really, really important if you're looking at this guy, because he has been a question mark.
Yeah, and I don't know what the Foxes' thought process is behind the Rhea switch up here. They did it against Runaway in the semis. They tried it here, and I think 0 for 2. This probably isn't the best decision. There's probably something going on deeper behind the scenes as to why Rhea is not playing tonight. I couldn't tell you why, but guys, we're going to go ahead and jump to this interview with Fisher, our MVP.
네, 정말 기묘한 인연을 이어오던 두 팀이었습니다. 결국 클라우드9 콩두가 NC 폭시즈를 상대로 3전 전승을
So Cloud9 KongDoo takes the win against NC Foxes.
승리를 마무리한 클라우드9 콩두의 피셔 선수.
We are here with Fisher of Cloud9 KongDoo. Hello. Hello.
먼저
First of all, you finished the Apex Season 4 as a third place. How do you feel? Honestly, it's been a really easy process so far. So I thought we were expecting better results. But this season, we fall behind compared to the last season. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy. You know, you guys were having great time, but you guys slipped away a little. Like, we've been winning every game, and then losing, you know, like, our gaming house atmosphere hasn't been that good. Yeah, it's been quite hard for us so far. Despite all that, you guys had a 4-0 victory against the NC Foxes today. Not giving a single set away. Compared to before, do you think the NC Foxes have been fighting back a little harder today? We've always had the 3-0 victory against NC Foxes, and we feel like we're improving every time we play against them. You know, they have shown phenomenal performance today, I think.
초반까지 평소에 콩두보다 뭔가 좀 합이 안 맞는다라는 그런 말도 있었는데 혹시 다른 이유가 있었나요?
사실 저희가 이제 OGN 슈퍼컵 매치.
Honestly, in the OGN Super Cup match,
하고 나서 루나티카이랑 결승에서
we played Lunatic High in the finals,
배웠다고 생각을 해요. 저희가
and then we feel like we've
맞춰가는
improved a lot.
단계였는데 두 번째 라운드 때는 약간 저희가 새로운 거 준비해왔던 거를
In the second set,
다시 옛날로 돌아가는 느낌이 아니라
we wanted to try something new.
근데 그러면서 피션 선수가 좀 팀을 단단히 붙들고 이끌어간 것 같아요. 그게 언제부터
I think you led the team quite a bit.
시점이 따로 있었나요?
오늘 경기요?
네, 오늘 경기.
오늘 경기 쟁탈에서 좀 많이 밀리고
Today's match,
때 제가
we are generally performing well,
약간 새로 우리가 찾았던 걸 그거를 왜 계속 안 하고 다른 걸 하냐 제가 이렇게 한번
but I think we found a new way in showing our performance.
차근차근 됐던 것 같아요.
하나하나 그냥 다 잡아가면서. 아 그리고 이제 클라우드9한텐 이번 마지막 시즌이었는데.
So this season is the last season for Cloud9 KongDoo.
예, 감회가 어떠신지 한번.
So how are you feeling right now?
아 울지 않습니다. 예, 제가 눈물샘이 좀 깊지 않아서.
I think I'm gonna cry.
사실 여태까지 저는 시즌 2부터 했지만 시즌 1 때부터
Until now,
했던 친구들도 있고 시즌 3나 시즌 4 때 새로 영입.
I've started from season 2. There are friends who started from season 1.
사실 이 대회 자체가 저를 키워줬다고 해도
Like this tournament, like this Overwatch Apex, seemed to actually grow me as a player, improve.
그래도 물론 이런 에이펙스나 다른 리그에 열렸을 때
And
계속 하고 싶은
these leagues in general, I just want to compete in all of them.
중에 오면 더 계속 하고 싶은. 저도.
So I see you want to compete in the future as well.
끝까지 응원해주신 팬분들께
Okay, last of all, would you like to say a few words to your fans who have been cheering for you until now?
여태까지 진짜로 시즌 2부터 시즌 1
Until now, from season 2 and season 1, honestly, thank you guys.
직관 오진 않으셨지만은 방송을 보고 계신 분들이
Some of you may not be here live, but people who are watching the stream
정말로 수많은 팬들이
and the
있는데
TV.
저희가 비록 에이펙스에서는 3위로 끝났지만은
Sorry for just taking the third place, but we are really, really grateful to you guys.
네, 정말 시즌 1부터 지금까지 쉬지 않고
From season 1, they have been running all the way till season 4. They've shown great performances in the way.
감사합니다.
Okay, that's the end of the interview. We'll throw it back to the casters.
Thanks very much, Andy. Great to hear from Fisher, and a little bit sad, you know, as well, Wolf, because we're not going to be seeing Cloud9 KongDoo in Apex anymore. They're going to be heading overseas.
We had to say a lot of goodbyes this season, and
yeah, man.
It started with Lunatic High losing in the round of 8. You know, that was it for them this season. We had to say goodbye to them at the Seoul Cup. Cloud9 KongDoo as well, going to Overwatch League. Luxury Watch Blue said goodbye to us.
Did we really say goodbye to Luxury Watch Blue? I mean, I feel like we never got to say hello this season.
They said bye to us, man.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But yeah, it's been a really unusual season with the winds of change and Overwatch League on the horizon. But that is going to be it, man. We're done with everything but the finals. It all comes down to this for the end of the year. Prestige, everything's on the line. One of these two teams is finally going to have their title, and I love Fisher's kind of going away speech there, giving respect to Apex. It's grown him as a person, grown him as a player, and if people ask why Korean players are so advanced, so ahead of the rest of the world in Overwatch right now, and it's because this tournament gave them something to fight for time after time, season after season.
Yeah. But let's move our heads forward, Wolf, because it's going to be GC Busan versus Runaway in the grand final that you were talking about. It'll be this Saturday, 21st of October. This is such an amazing story, such an amazing setup for what should be great games here between Runaway and GC Busan. The Royal Roaders that have gotten so many fans over the last few months, and Runaway, the old fan favorites. We've been waiting for Runaway to find themselves a victory here. So much redemption on the cards after, you know, Season 2 was the last heyday here for this team, and now rocketing up the standings as far as finding a roster that works. These are still the names that we love, but now fitting themselves into different roles and finding one that works. It's like, finally, the jigsaw puzzle is being completed and Runaway are ready to play some top-tier Overwatch.
Who do you think is going to win?
GC Busan.
I think GC Busan is going to win too, but I think that it's going to be a fantastic series. I think that anything could happen. Runaway just has that magic and they are the fan favorites, and they've finally figured out exactly how they want to run their roster.
And the
This
problem
finals,
is, right, like, my issue, I just need to try and justify my decision on GC Busan. It's because, like, I honestly am just one of those people that jump straight on that bandwagon, you know? I'm not even going to,
You're
like,
literally the
sugarcoat
Twitch
it.
chat pasta.
I am, like, the Twitch chat copy pasta right now. I'm like, I am GC Busan's biggest fan. Like, this team is just so fun to watch, and Prophet's such an incredible player as well, challenging Birdring's spot as the #1 tracer. So, yes, I feel like Runaway has certainly shown more as far as Dynasty is concerned. This team has a much bigger name and certainly should be the one that has the safe money on them, but GC Busan just look like they're on such a tear right now.
They certainly are, but anything could happen in that best of 7. It will be on Saturday. It is going to be at 6 p.m. in Kintex. If you are here, of course, go to the ticket link website down there. If you want to go ahead and grab tickets, there's probably not too many left, so try to get them as soon as you can, and it should be a great finals. Do not miss it. So they're starting ticket sales, of course, live at the venue itself at 12 p.m. So if you want to be there, you're going to have to be there 6 hours early. If you actually
Bring a
haven't got
pop
a ticket
tent,
yet.
guys. Bring a pop tent and make sure that you do have some sort of big coat
You
as well.
probably-
It's starting to get cold here in Korea.
Probably just want to go there right now, actually. Like, if you want to make sure you get tickets, you should probably turn the stream off right now
Yeah.
and get on the train.
Yeah, get on the train, but yeah, like we said, bring provisions, things like that. Make sure you stay safe out there. But yeah, certainly, like, I don't know. I'm just so excited for this grand final. Like, I was looking at it, and as soon as Cloud9 KongDoo were knocked out, I was like, okay, so what is the best possible option here for this final? And I feel like this is definitely the
It
best
absolutely
option.
is, man.
Oh, dude, I'm so ready. But guys, that is enough from us. We'll see you on the weekend for the final of Apex Season 4.
Shoot.